All right, it says it's checking connection. We're going to try this. Take two. Ding, 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 ding. Welcome to the Boom Network, 24/7 Truth with a capital T. All the information, there she is, all the information that should be on the mainstream media, but will never be. Never, ever, ever. Because they can't have us being self-sovereign, accountable, or responsible for our own health. Do you know how much money is at stake when we take our claim back and be human again? Can you imagine us being human, not needing as much as they claim we do? Imagine that. And that's where this solution lies. Not in any kind of, not in any kind of stance or a group or somebody's. Got to take the power back into your own health. Take your health back into yourself. Dr. Cassie Huckabee speaks wildly about that. There she is.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
Are we on?
Yeah, you're clear. Beautiful.
Okay.
All right. Beautiful.
Okay.
Okay. So you had a busy week, you were saying.
I did. A busy, full week. Lots of amazing human beings that are taking control of their health and doing just badass things, like right out of the gate.
Are there any special conditions outside of the person that they need to heal?
Outside of the person?
Like a prerequisite, like outside, like, oh, do you have warm weather? Are you single? Do you have...
No, they have to want to heal. They have to know that they can. They have to see it and know that it's a possibility. And then whatever they think is possible, then can become a reality for them. If they don't think it's possible, then they have to go find something within them that might have a little bit of hope. And then we start. So no, never.
All right. I love it. There's if it's been named, it means it's happened to somebody else.
Right.
And if it's been named or labeled, it's been healed in somebody else, possibly.
Yes.
And if it's healed in somebody else,
then anybody can do it. If it's been, well, the thing is even if it hasn't, right? Just because we don't have it written down in a textbook on a website somewhere doesn't mean somebody hasn't done it. It's just those people are living life and probably not really caring about,
right,
telling the medical industry that they did this or that they did it on their own or it happened
right,
miraculously overnight. There's so many things that we're not aware of that happen. And just because mainstream media doesn't cover it, it's not in our textbooks or somebody hasn't written a book about it, doesn't mean that it's impossible. So that side of the world is just as likely as this other side that has, nobody's ever done it before.
Sure.
If not more likely from my perspective.
Yeah. No, yeah. I think about that all the time because everybody likes to come at when you speak in terms like you're speaking and that's how you live your life, not only how you run your practice, but that's yeah. You're speaking yes. You. They love coming with that random, far-fetched spider in the corner. Well, what about, They just want to find that one thing to just refute you so strongly to take it out of their hands, right?
Yeah. The worst case scenario with everything bad you could possibly imagine, can it be done? And every single time it's going to be yes. If the individual wants to put forth the effort that it's going to take, because the more severe of a case that you have, the more words that you've been given, the more chronic in nature, whatever condition that's expressing in your physiology is, that just means you're going to have that much higher of a level of focus. And that's really all that it means. If you want it, if you can think it, then it's possible. And from my perspective, that's really all that matters.
I love the choice of words from your perspective, which is like, did you invent this healing?
No, not at all.
Oh, it's here.
It's been here from the beginning of time. It's written into our DNA. If you're a human, you have access to everything that's possible here. And you have access to everything that we've been told is not possible here as well. That's also written in. There's no junk in us, right? In our genetics, in our body, any organs, any portions of our brain. There's no mistake in how we were created. Just because we don't understand it or we haven't found a way to monetize it doesn't mean that there isn't some brilliance and beauty to it. And so no, I just work with it. I didn't discover anything. I mean, I discovered it within myself because, you know, I had to. And so then it
Sure.
opened my mind up to this other side of the world that is so much more beautiful, so much more hopeful and optimistic and inspiring, and makes you want to be a human and want to be alive and want to see what all is capable within our flesh suits. Because it can be a magical ride here too.
I love that. I love that. And there's been a good response. Have you gotten a good response from our shows, from these house
Yes.
calls?
Yes.
Positive?
Positive. And it's so meaningful. I think you can speak for you too, I guess. But for people to give the feedback, right, that this time, the words that we're sharing, the truths that we're sharing, that they recognize the truth and the value within it, and they know that it's not just here for us to entertain ourselves, that we're here because we care about people. We're here because we know that if we would have learned these things, or I'm speaking for me now, if I would have learned these things so much earlier on, I could have experienced so much more beauty in my life so much sooner. So much more hope, so much more optimism, and such a fuller life if anybody would have just kind of pointed me in the right direction, that maybe there's more here, maybe it's not as ugly and dark and helpless as it seems. And so those people that take the time to write messages from their heart and from how they feel and how these things touch them is so meaningful, right? And I always talk about, even with my patients, it's a bi-directional flow. And so when we come and give from our heart and give truth, and then those of you who take time to give us feedback of these things are valuable and meaningful to you, you know, it's not that we would ever stop what we're doing, but it's nice to feel that it's landing and that it's something that's nourishing and something that's worthwhile, and not just taking up time to come and, you know, be on here and just mindlessly chat, you know.
No.
And so the messages have been beautiful. The human beings that are here that come and listen, and then they apply and they understand. I always find it fascinating that if you have the capacity to understand and to utilize and then to implement the things that we are speaking to in these sessions, that means that your doors of perception, your capacity to change, to heal, to evolve is so great. That means we're all the same, right? It's not that we're speaking over, it's we're speaking with. And that's such a cool thing too, to start meeting people, not that are just like-minded, but that are open-hearted and having a moment of, you know, willingness to change, willingness to look in a different direction that doesn't seduce you into fear, that doesn't have to terrify you, that doesn't have to manipulate you in any way for you to give your time, your attention, your, you know, presence to it, is something that I think is one of the most impressive things, right? Because we're not coming on here trying to scare the shit out of you to sell you something. We're not trying to, you know, seduce you into something that we have that you don't. We're here saying, hey, we're all humans. I'm as human as the rest. You're as human as the rest. We're doing this as best we can, learning as much as we can every single day, changing, evolving, adapting, and we're doing it all together. And to not forget that, right?
Yeah.
No matter what. And so it's been cool to read those from my side, and I'm sure you get 10 times that on your side.
It's good, and it's all, and that drives us. We would probably keep it going, but it does help when we hear the feedback. And I don't know about you, but have you ever been brought to tears? I know I have.
Yes.
By some of the messages,
All the
right?
time. All the time. It's such a, because you know when words are written from the heart, and to know that anybody takes any time during their day to share something kind with you is such a beautiful gift. And when we know that during this time, especially, like, our time and our attention and our focus is the only thing that we have, the nows, right? And to know just that any human being thought about you in a kind way or sent intentions or thoughts to you. And it makes me think of, you know, kind of what we talked about last week too, like, let's do this more. Like, if you ever have an opportunity to love somebody, do it. If you ever have an opportunity to compliment somebody, do it. If you ever have an opportunity to just, even without them knowing, send them something beautiful because they popped into your mind. You know, I do this with my patients, and I do this with the people I care about, my family and friends, and it's just this silent offering of, you know, I don't know why they popped into my head, but I'm going to send them everything that I've got and all the love and all the intention, and how beautiful and valuable that is. And so then when that's paired with words and you get those little love letters, right? I think of every little message as a love letter. So even the ones that are nasty, know that, you know, you're sending a certain type of love letter.
Yeah.
And so the kind ones, though, to receive them and to, you know, be here with people choosing to be here. And I think it's such a beautiful thing, too. And if we could just do this more in life, like go and share that and know that somebody's probably thinking about you in this moment, or
Right.
It makes the world so much more magical. And when we talk about the quantum world and the field and intention and collective consciousness, to know that it's really all going back to the same thing, and it's all of us, all at once, all at the same time. And it's a beautiful thing, and to know how much impact it has is phenomenal, and just like makes me so emotional, like the happiest kind of tears.
Yeah. This is so we've got the most amount of people who have viewed of all of them so far. So this is good. This is a good turnout. Could be that we're going to answer questions. Maybe.
Yes.
Could be they're wondering what I'm sipping on.
What is that?
Any guesses? Any guesses, anybody? Ooh, what is Cassie sipping on?
A diluted version of what you're sipping on.
Really? Any guesses? I just want to let it fester. It's
Nettle.
stinging nettle tea. Yeah. Stinging nettle tea. Nope. Stinging nettle tea. Both of us. Stinging nettle tea. Not Nestle tea, stinging nettle tea.
No, totally different.
One of my clients was like, "Isn't that poisonous?"
No.
Isn't it crazy? Somebody outside could be taking 5 medications, but saying stinging nettle tea is poisonous.
Yeah, yeah.
Here we are.
That's the program we have to undo, right?
Yes.
We've got a lot of it.
Wow. Oh, I got a joke.
Please.
You ready for this?
Do what?
Are you ready for this?
I'm so ready.
This isn't the joke. Hold on. Okay. Ask me, what's the most important thing in comedy?
I'm asking you. Okay, what's the most important thing in comedy?
Timing. Did you hear? Did it block out?
No, I heard you. I think you were supposed to interrupt me, you know?
I did. Did I not? I interrupted you. No,
I
it
mean,
glitched. What's the most important thing? Ask me what the most important thing in comedy
what's the most important thing in comedy?
Timing. Freaking Instagram, you're glitching my joke.
Oh my gosh.
It's so much better the second time. Oh my gosh.
You win.
I got that from I got that from a movie called A Good Year last night. Yeah. That was perfect. Oh, they're like, do it again. Do it again. Like hey, do you have did you have any so there's two there's two types of science.
Mm-hmm.
There's science.
There is.
And then there's SIDS science. And
yes.
apparently I sound like Sid from
Sid the Sloth.
Sid the Sloth from Ice Age. Do you have real science at all? Anything that you have to read from? Did you grab those? Okay.
I mean, I do. I can tell you briefly.
So Cassie went and dug up. Hold on. So Cassie went and found like two or three studies.
Yes.
In publications that are whatever legit is.
Mm-hmm.
What were they in?
Nature, and I think two of them are in Nature, and then I can't remember what the other one's in, but they're, high-level research articles done really well, just in the world of quantum physics, light, and stuff like that, just to give us a better idea of, what is accessible here through science, right? Because this other side of the world exists as well. It's just you're not going to hear it. Because it doesn't sell you anything except for like potential, right? Except they're trying to use some of it for technology.
Really?
But for the most part, if you can read it from a perspective of, I have the potential to express something of this magnitude, and therefore I have the potential to co-create the reality that I'm experiencing and actively participate in the reality that I'm experiencing. Again, it always gives the power back to the individual, and that's how I like to look at these things, right? Because we are the most advanced quantum machines on the planet, and we have all that we need to interact with everything that we can see, and even the metaphysical background that we cannot see. And so if we started understanding the magnitude of what we had and what we've had the whole time, that science is just now getting tools to give words to, it could be a lot more playful, right? I've been, this week it came up a lot, everyone saying, I've done all the work, and they've done so much work. And, this week I was like, well, why don't we start playing? Let's get to the point where we can play, because why not, right? We're here, yeah. Let's do these things. We have so much available to us, that the capacity of the human body to heal, to perform, to enjoy, to experience is just unbelievable, but we give no bandwidth to that. We give it all to, what if this goes wrong? Or what if I wake up and this day and this and this and this and this and this, and we overwhelm ourselves. And then we want to say, I help manifest my reality. Well, then start playing for the team that you want to play on, and start painting a reality that you want to be in, because either way, you're created. You're actively participating in what you experience. And so, go research these things that blow your mind open of like, wow, if a baby duck can influence a machine and AI, what do I have accessible within my capacity through the way I think, feel, experience? And it just really gives the power back to the individual. It makes it playful of like, okay, well then today, what I used to call fantasy and daydreaming and like, oh, that's not reality, I'm going to give more time, emotion, energy to that, because actually the truth is, if we're going to be extremely honest, is both sides are equally possible. You just give more value to this one because it seems more practical, and this other seems too fantastic, too, dreamy for it to ever be a possibility. But it's just because we don't give the energetic investment to that side of humanity, being a human being that could, experience and do all of these amazing things. And so, I do understand being an intellectual human. I had to fight that battle in the beginning too. And so I like to always, fight intellect with intellect. That's why I also run labs and use, modern medical things, so that we can fight the intellect with the intellect and do these amazing things. And then you have the proof, right, through these other things of saying, well, hey, they said I couldn't do it and I did, and here's my lab results based off of how they measure things, and I still did it. And so, we've got to give more time to this other side. There's research being done, but again, if there's no interest in it, if there's no, if we're not supporting that side with even our attention, you think they're going to fund it? You think that money, we've got to start giving our attention and our, money and our investment to these things that could enhance our experience here, instead of like, oh, let's go research a virus. Why? What is that going to do for you? You know, how is that going to empower you? How is it going to make you wake up tomorrow and be like, I want to be here. I want to experience things. I want to do things, right? What if you read a study that even a plant can influence light generated in a room at random, right? It can pull it to it, and greater than just coincidence, right? These are those things. Let's open our eyes. Let's see, like, if a plant can do it, what do you think you can do?
Right.
Why not try? Why not experience? And why not, like, elevate our expectations in medicine, in life, and just being a human. Being a human is not this tiny thing. Like, we need to redefine the magnitude of what it is to be human. It's such a beautiful, powerful thing. So yes, there's that science and then this other, and why not read this other? It's on PubMed as well. You just have to, you know, work harder to find it.
That's what I was looking for. You said something that so when I get into my Tasmanian devil type rants, somebody likes to come back and go, yeah, but that type of thinking gives false hope. They love saying that. Not even that even medicals say that. Like, well, that's false hope.
Yeah.
What do you have to say about?
I would just say, like, I don't understand how you're using those words, because what is false hope?
Right. Like, I don't even.
It's a fun thing we like to say, and it's a thing that, you know, they even like to scare doctors into, you know, standard of care is to not offer too much hope. You don't want to get their hopes up, right? And when you go look at the research on intention of the practitioner, intention of the patient, both of them impact research studies, both of them. So then we're going to say false hope is something that, like, what is that? First of all, it's hope, right?
Right.
If you expect something, you're more likely to get what you expect, right? And, you know, that goes into the world of placebo effect and all of these things that we just, like, act like are a nuisance to research, when these are the things that we need more research on, because this is giving us just a glance into the capacity of the human being just through intention, just through hope, just through prayer, right? Is the most amazing things to even, like, think about and meditate on. They even do studies, and they have to control for, even in a regular allopathic setting in a hospital, they have to control for the intention of the nursing staff. If the nurses have goodwill and good intentions towards their patient, it could skew results. And so they have to control for all of these different aspects. And so, you know, to me, what is false hope? If anything, hope is what's true. And if you're doing the other, you're not serving people. If you actually understand how the human body works, how the mind, the field, the nature of this world that we live in works, then if you're not giving them hope, then you are doing malpractice from my perspective, because it matters. It impacts everything. And a doctor who doesn't believe and who doesn't hope and who doesn't have any bit of optimism in them, that's actually going to alter and inhibit the results that patient's going to get just by the nature of it. And this is provable. This is in science. This is even in, like, the science that everybody worships, right? Because they control for this stuff. Go look at what they have to control for. If you have to control for it, it's because it impacts it. Flip it around and be like, holy cow. Then the way I think, what I expect, being hopeful, being optimistic matters absolutely. And, you know, false hope it up for me every single day. Always.
Right.
I'm not going to do the other. Yeah.
You delivered it more eloquently than I did on that one.
It gets that knee-jerk reaction.
I've heard that. It was like, that's going to give false hope. That really, that really gets me.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. How many questions you got on your side? Any idea?
Got quite a few. We're just gonna start picking them.
Yeah, you want to start?
We're just gonna start at the top.
Yeah, you can jump around.
This is a good one. So Tamra, Yaafe. I don't know if I'm going to pronounce that right, but her question was how to stay grounded within a house and a family of others who act or eat differently.
Who acts what? It glitched. Who what?
Who act/eat differently.
Ah.
So I'm guessing this is
What do you
like
got?
you're living in a way, a certain way, doing a certain thing, and then the rest of the family, the rest of the household is doing something completely different. So you're having to make, I get this a lot with mothers, right? Mothers
Yep.
trying to improve their health, reverse major conditions, and their spouse doesn't believe in it, doesn't care, wants to eat and have their meals prepared in a certain way, and then the kids are picky and the kids want a certain thing, and so it's this divide within the house. And I think, in the beginning, it's always sad for me when I see that, because I know the amount of work on the individual, right? And just from my perspective, it's most often women, but I know there are men too that probably experience this as well. But the one thing that I've noticed too is when you want it and when you can do it within that environment, that's something that makes you unshakable. And the other thing too is if you have children watching you choose your health despite anything else, right? And having the self-respect, the dedication, the commitment to choose to better yourself every single day, and you're making your spouse something else, and you're smelling the pizza and the donuts and the this and the that, and they're gonna watch. They know truth. They pay attention more than what you just tell them, and that's going to impact the whole family. And the other thing too is there's going to be a day, even when the other individual, the spouse or anyone else in the household, is going to start noticing how different you are and how much more vibrant and energetic and vital. And again, this, we talked about this in last week as well. You don't have to convince, because they're going to see it. And then maybe at some point they're going to be like, well, maybe I'll try organic, or I don't know.
Right.
I'm fine if you want to. But this is a hard thing too. But I think the other thing is, it's hard, but sometimes you have to look at what you're choosing to stay in too, when it comes to beliefs and differences in the household. And a lot of people stay together because of children, when what would serve children more is seeing parents that honored what they needed and honored the sovereignty of their self and what would keep them well and vital and the most optimal human being. So there's this conversation is so huge, and you're not the only one that experiences this. I get this so often. Because it's usually one person that believes in it, one person that wants to try it, and then they want it for everybody else, but you can't convince them. You can only show them through your life experience. What do you think on this one?
That's why I try to, if I have anyone coming in, I try to invite the family or the spouse or the partner or whatever, so that they can hear as well. And again, it's usually the mom being proactive, or the woman being proactive about her health, and then husband or partner or whatever is later. But it is, especially if mom and son are with me, and then they go home and it's this total antagonistic delivery. It's a tough environment. But like you said, if you can choose, I've had people do fasts, like water fasts, while making dinner for their whole family. I'm like, you're a boss. Like, to just be in that environment, like the dog, I've said, like a wolf with a steak on its nose, and it just sits there and just takes it. The amount of discipline and control. But that's why I welcome as many people to get behind, because then there is that support, and then there is that togetherness as a unit. But you said it perfectly. Then maybe it's okay. Our parents stayed together because of us. But what if we saw maybe two individuals loving, at 12 years old, or they split up, but explained to us, and saw that they were taking their health into their hands as a priority. I think it always gets kind of pushed off to the side. It's hard for sure, but the I'm unhealthy because I had kids, or because we gave it all to our kids, right? The and that it's hard for sure. But what a great example to show your kids that this is how you live because you value this ride so much, and this is what you want to show for them. And then together, you guys are going and picking eggs from chickens you guys are raising, or you're going to the farmer's market together, or the kids are making the meals for you before you even wake up. Like everyone's just around that whole, and it's just this one big synergistic braid of amazing. I've seen it happen, and then it's tough too. Yeah.
But it can all be a transformation too, because I think the most powerful thing I see is when people choose to heal themselves and to really take ownership and to be deliberate and intentional in every decision. And when you can make those decisions, even smelling the things that you love, even smelling the things that you're addicted to, sitting beside it. What you're doing is you are healing that marriage between you and yourself, right? And that has to be the first relationship that is whole, that is solid, that is healthy, that is well, before any other relationship outside of that could even have a possibility of being healthy. And so what you're doing is you are reinforcing that self-respect between you and your body, of that choosing, this dedication, this commitment of, I know what I want, I know what I can have, and I will choose it. And I will choose it smelling the pizza, and I will choose it serving the donuts, and I will choose it. And it's this unshakable integrity between you and your physical body. And so that changes. Again, we'll go back into the field and the resonance of the human body. You become more coherent, you become more of a force, more of a presence energetically too. And you can't say that that's not going to impact the whole household. And the other beautiful thing is by you being healthier, even if they didn't eat the stuff that you're eating, you are impacting their health, even though they don't see it, feel it, know it. And that's the most beautiful thing. Again, there is nothing you do in life that doesn't touch those around you, that doesn't touch the collective. And so it's you taking care of you, knowing that in that moment too, because of how DNA even works, the bidirectional flow of the energetics of even what's written in our DNA, is the mom choosing to heal herself can change the DNA in both directions, right? And it's such a beautiful thing. And to, again, like, know that your health is contagious, and what you do impacts every space that you're in. Everybody you hug is benefited by everything that you're doing to make yourself the most optimal human being. And so that's another beautiful thing too, is like, none of this is selfish. None of it is like, oh, it's the most beautiful work that you could do, the most important, the most essential. And the people that I see doing this, especially the ones that are doing it on their own, they're healing on another level too, that is such a deeper, more foundational level than somebody who had, that community, like we're supposed to have, that family unit of like, let's all do it. Let's all get healthy. Let's see how badass of a family we can be. And so, it's a beautiful thing either way. If you've got the community, the family, the tribe that does it with you, it's perfect and beautiful. And if you're the individual that has the alternative, it's just as beautiful, just as powerful, even more so, because it's going to create that integrity and that foundation within you that makes you so unshakable that people won't have to be convinced of anything they do. They will just notice by you being, right? Your life is your message. And it couldn't be more true. And so these are those situations that, like, I get it a lot. I see it a lot. And it's hard. But it's worth it. And at the end of the day, when you go to bed at night feeling better, that is medicine that you couldn't get in any other way. And that's a beautiful thing. So I like that question.
I love it. All right, let's go to, forgive us on the names here, all right? So we got Mabcan2. Mabcan2, ways to calm, and it says result the nervous system. I think it meant reset. Ways to calm and reset the nervous system. Go ahead.
So, do you have any favorites you want to start off with?
I have my favorites. This is just my go-to. It's walking. It's outside walking. And breathing. So here's another thing that I've challenged myself with, and I'll challenge clients as well. And we have over a dozen years.
Yeah.
Trying to keep your wind through your nose the whole time. Like, it's harder than it sounds. Through your nose the entire time while you walk. Boost parasympathetic, cerebrospinal fluid, creativity. In that, you have no choice. Like, there's not even couples arguing. Like, they argue when they stop, but when they're walking, it's like they're not arguing anymore.
Yeah.
And if you can get out, it's got to be, obviously, try to be outside as much as you can, but walking outside is my go. And if you can go barefoot walking on earth, that's my go-to.
Yeah.
What do you think?
That's a number one for sure. The other thing too is, so if you can be outside, it's always outside. Just even if you just looked at a picture of nature, it soothes the nervous system. We are made to see green. We're made to see nature. We're made to see trees and plants and flowers. That is soothing to the nervous system. The other thing that I love so much is if you can go and find a tree, especially a tree that even has like one bird in it. Because what happens in our mind, our nervous system, when you hear bird song, is when birds are singing, that means there's no predators around. And so that registers in the human nervous system as rest, as safety, as sit and relax. And so if you can be touching the ground, touching a tree, listening to bird song, even if there's like traffic noises, it doesn't matter. Just paying attention, isolating the sound of the bird song, paying attention to the green, right? Green is always going to get you there as well. I love breathing through the nose. And then one of my most favorite, just because our minds are so busy, is making a playlist, and making a playlist that soothes you, right? It's fun to make it, and then it's fun to realize that it's medicinal. And so then when you get in those frantic feeling moments, have a playlist that can pull you back down, that can make you fall in love, that can fill you with wonder, right? Because whenever you're filled with wonder, whenever you're filled with, trying to look and see details, right? That's another thing, like find a flower, try to see every detail in it.
Oh, yeah.
Get back into your body, get back into the feeling, because often when our nervous system is in that fight or flight, we're all in our head, we're, creating it somehow. We are creating, most of us aren't being chased by a lion or a tiger. We're creating it with our thoughts. So if there's a way to shut down your thoughts, it's going to be so much easier to even incorporate these breathing practices, the meditations, all of these things, but you've got to hack it, or you're just going to be frustrated that you can't do the breathing right to calm yourself down. So always try to hack the neurology in a beautiful way of, let's get me into my feelings. Let me pay attention to the details on a flower, the details on a piece of fruit, something to get me out of my head. And then once you drop into the body, then do those breathing practices, then go ground. Whatever you have to do, listen to music, even like neutral showers, not hot, not cold, but neutral is very good to kind of reset and restart the nervous system. Having water, pour over you is a very good practice as well. But there's so many things, but I think the one thing too is to not look for a thing to soothe you, but to know yourself so well that you know how to soothe yourself. Because that's the power. These other things are tools. Breath work, meditation, tapping, grounding, all of these are tools. But if you can understand yourself and know, just like a kid, like what a kid needs when they're stressed out, crying, upset, they usually need to be hugged by their mom, or they need, try to learn yourself to the capacity that you know what you need. I find it fascinating sometimes. We expect our significant others or those that we're dating to know us and know how to speak our love language and soothe us and show us love in a way that we receive love. And most of us don't even know ourselves well enough to do the same. And so I often ask people, like, court yourself. Try to discover yourself and understand, like, my favorite flower is this. When I'm stressed out, this soothes me. When this happens, I, get excited. When this happens, I get nervous. When this happens, learn yourself so well that you understand the language of your body, and then utilize all of these tools that soothe the nervous system, that reset the nervous system, and then they become tools. They don't become these things that you rely on because you can't keep your physiology in a state that promotes health and well-being. So most of it is like, use all of these things, experiment with them, see which ones feel the best. But know yourself, know how to soothe yourself, know what you need, know what would just hold you, because that's usually what you're craving more so than, getting into the very scientific, like nervous system, vagus nerve, diaphragmatic breathing. Like, yes, those are great, use them as tools, but why? Like, does it hold you? Does it keep you? Does it calm you? Does it feel like somebody, gave you a hug and told you it was going to be okay? And you have to know how to do that to yourself first before you could ever expect any human being, even if you've been married for a decade, if you don't know yourself well enough to know how you would soothe yourself in those moments, then nobody else, everyone will just be guessing and doing their best. But we expect this from a partner, and we've never done it for ourselves. And I think, again, I will always go back to the individual. Learn how to speak your body's language, and then you'll know which practice will benefit you the most. Like, and then you'll even know how to use them properly. Like, okay, this is a moment where breath work. I'm tight. I'm doing shallow breathing. I'm, anxious. This is when I drop in and do breath work. Versus, I'm scattered, I'm electric, I'm wired and tired and stressed out and been sitting in an office all day under blue light. I need to go touch the ground and feel sunlight, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you can read those inputs, and then you utilize the tool properly. And it's not like, I'm going to do breath work every single day to prevent feeling this way. It's like, no, use it. It's a tool. This is, again, this capacity of the human body to do these things is phenomenal. If you know your body, then you know how to use them in a way that is actually medicinal, and not another just thing, a chore, a task that you're demanding demanding your physiology to change. And then I'll say one other thing on this too is, if there's something off within your nervous system so much that you're having to pay attention to it and soothe it, you need to be looking at the inputs that are creating the output. That's an output. What are the inputs? Is it your mind? Is it a relationship? Is it your household, your work? And then you need to start changing the environment instead of demanding that the physiology, that your physical body have a different response to the input, right? Because that doesn't really answer anything. You're just going to keep experiencing it and having to layer yourself with supplements, herbs, GABA boosting this, all of these different things. And so you've got to understand the human body to where everything is an input, and then your body translates that and you get an output. And the body is the truest thing there is. And so if there's something that it doesn't like in your external environment, something that's not for you, something that doesn't serve you, you're going to have a disturbance. You're going to have an emotion that communicates with you. And part of it is not just shut up, stop, I need you to calm down, but saying, okay, why? What is it? What is it right now in this moment that's making me feel this way? Is it the light? Is it the sounds? Is it the work environment? Is it the fact that I haven't slept in a month? That's when you get a more precise answer to this question, because again, we can be as general as we want, but listen to your body, know what you need, know what's making you feel that to begin with, and then you get to utilize the tools in a more efficient, effective way.
Love it. You're getting a lot of people commenting that you need to write a book, so throwing that out there. Okay, she knows, guys.
Someday, yes.
All right, you're up.
All right, so let me see. Ooh, I like this. Cairo Kath with a K. She said, what is one thing you learned this week, not from a book, social media, TV, etc.? Ready, go.
I learned that, wait, what were the things I couldn't get them from? Social media?
Social media, a book, TV, etc. So just
that I friggin' love green plums. One, I didn't know green plums exist. And two, it's kind of like my catnip. They're these tiny little green plums, and they're frigging
So
unbelievable.
good.
I can't, I'm pacing myself. I got a brown bag of them. I have a bowl still. I had 3 on my way here. I had 3 this morning. Green plums. They're like the size of super balls, little mini super
They're
balls. So
amazing.
that was my, yeah.
So amazing.
And Omi has a memory that I twirl my coffee and rinse it out, and then I go throw it in the bushes, and I didn't see him, the ground, and I like threw it, and he like turned and was like, yo, like looks at me, dilated pupils, like, what the hell? So I went and made peace with him, and we laid on the ground, like, you know, got after it. Well, then this morning I opened the door, and he like remembered. So his memory was pretty damn good, but he also was trying to hold out. And then I held out, and then he held out, and then finally we made peace. We bumped heads like 3 times, and that was it. Like that was all it was. So I learned that he has a pretty good memory, but he forgives quickly.
Cats are good like that.
Yeah.
I like it.
What about you?
Plums
Plums and cats. Green plums.
Those plums are good. I learned
Oh
that.
my God.
I learned that as well. No, this week, first of all, did I mention I love that question? I love this question.
Good question, Cairo Kath.
Good question. So this week, one of the things that I learned and kind of was reminded of, right, was that it can be and. Okay, and so what I mean by that is, like, often we think in this or that. So right or wrong, yes or no, this or that. And this week it was just this reminder through talking with human beings and, you know, listening to their minds and their hearts and just the person and the experience of the human, is that it's often and, right? You can love your spouse deeply and know that you're no longer good together, right? And this conversation came up so many times this week on different topics, you know, some with marriages, some with their careers, some with just so many different aspects of life. And I fell in love with it because it was such a good reminder. We often hold ourselves to these extremes. You choose this and you choose this, and then you can make a right or wrong decision. And that's so overwhelming. That's too overwhelming. That's not even true, because the truth is it's probably some crazy combination of all of them, and we're so determined to not make a mistake and make the right decision, and it's paralyzing. And that's why so many people in this time are paralyzed. And so now, after talking with these beautiful people and getting to see this reflected back so many different ways this week, was, what if it's also just and the freedom and the kindness that would give ourselves of making decisions and making choices, because so many people don't want to make choices because they don't want to make the wrong decision, and they don't want to feel like they made the wrong decision. They don't want to regret the decision they made. And so now, instead of looking at everything as good or bad, right or wrong, you know, take away the judgments, the containers, and, you know that it could also just be and then from that place, make a decision based on what serves you best, what would make you want to be in this world the most, what would, another word that came up in a visit this week was thrilled. What would make you wake up every single day and be thrilled to be here? And so it was this, and it can be that, it can be this and this other, and therefore I'm going to choose to move in this way. I thought it was just like a sweet little reminder of something so profound if we could wrap our minds around it, because we like to think we know what's going on in this world. We like to think that we know everything enough to even know what's right and what's wrong, and it couldn't be further from the truth. We hardly even, you know, grasp a percentage of what's true here. So, badass question. I love
That's beautiful. Cairo Kath, nice. So speaking on carrying over to the cat theme, Beneath My Mask asked, question on pet nutrition. Why is Billy so handsome? But how do you handle Billy's health?
Yeah. How do I handle Billy's health? Okay.
Or how do you just stay out of the way?
Yeah, I let that kid do his own thing. So with pets, so cats are a little bit different than humans. So with herbs and everything, even like essential oils in your homes, you have to be very careful. Cats metabolize things a little bit differently than humans. And, you know, cats are also one of the few like true carnivores. So for this little dude to keep his, you know, his hair, fur, whatever,
Bro.
yeah. His puff, you know, I just try to keep him as healthy as possible. We feed him the best quality food. He prefers salmon. And with cats, you know, if you could do raw meat every single day, it's ideal because they're true carnivores and one of the few on this planet that are true carnivores. And then trying to get herbs in that dude is a nightmare. But I do it on occasion. I found that the dropper approach is easiest, and always clip the nails before you engage in that practice because it's, you know, his yeses are yeses and his no's are, you know, no's. But herbs are amazing for cats. And letting him be outside. He's in the sun every single day. It's adorable. I have like 2 chairs outside and we have like our whole morning routine. And he usually beats me to the morning sun session. And even on mornings, if I have patients extremely early and can't make it, he's out there doing it without me. Like he's going to get his sunlight exposure in and he lays on the ground and he grounds. And, the one thing that I would say about him, though, is just like he's freaking extremely present in life. Like, I'm sure you see that with like, he's just all the way here 100% of the time. When he's napping, he's napping. When he's playing, he's playing. When he wants to be loved on, he wants it. And when he doesn't, he doesn't. And he has like no conflict in who the heck he is. And I think that impacts him more than my like choice of salmon and herbs. And clean, very clean, structured water.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
How do you do that?
I have a little structuring device, but you can also just like put it in a glass bottle, put it on the ground outside at night under the sun and let it do sun and moon for a day too. And it can bring life back into your water, do spring water over like something like reverse osmosis or something like that. So it can be living water. Basically, we're trying to just like do what nature did naturally and do all the things that we can possibly do to kind of touch how it would be if we could be in nature like it was intended.
Yeah. Got it. Love it. Ooh. All right. This is from Yoga State of Mind. This is a fun one.
Okay.
It's a desert island question. So you're on a desert island.
I would love to go.
Right? Like, I've said that. Like I don't want demise and death, but I would like to crash and just be on an island. Like,
yeah. I
think I'd be all right. Castaway was not this disaster movie. Like I really enjoyed his life. Like, okay.
Yeah.
So desert island question from Yoga State of Mind. We've got your favorite, your desert island drink, your desert island appetizer, your desert island meal, and your desert island dessert.
Oh, like
drink?
I just have anything, or did it have to be on the
No,
island?
not like it's not. It could be shipped in or magically transported.
Like a 5-star quantum, whatever.
It could be anything. Just let it go. Let it go.
Okay. So what was it? A drink?
Drink, appetizer, meal, dessert.
Drink.
Meaning if you're only going to have these forever. Like this is your go-to.
Oh, like I have to not just like a one-time thing.
This is your go-to forever. Okay,
I would do, it actually fits, coconut water, like the fresh, that's my drink.
It's already there.
I thought that's what I got.
No, so mine's
I
gonna be
didn't
root
know
beer.
water.
Mine's gonna be root beer with nugget ice. I want root beer with nugget ice, the little pellet ice.
Oh, I'm not doing this right.
So we can have it shipped in. Like you can have it. It's just your go-to. It's not the location. It's just like when you're there. So like Desert Island Books or movies, like the only books you'll have forever. Movies
I
you'll
like
have
how
forever.
we're having to spend so much time walking me through this.
You're like coconut water from the tree north of the island.
But I think I would still choose that because
You choose
so
coconut water.
good. But
No,
I
you're
want
like a
somebody
machete.
to open it for me because
A machete.
that's hard. And dangerous.
All right, so
and you know how I
your
am with
drink
time.
is a person to open the coconuts. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. My drink is root beer with nugget ice. Yes. Do you know what nugget ice is?
I'm assuming it's just round ice.
It's the little pellets. Yeah, it's called nugget ice. There's like a Facebook group. There's fans. It's it's like pillows for your teeth. I love chewing ice, and these things are really soft and just really, yeah. And root beer and that. I'm
Pillows for your teeth.
I'm chilling in the cave and just waiting for the moon to come out. Waiting for my appetizer to come out.
Okay.
All right, appetizer.
Appetizer. Oh my goodness. It's gonna be bad though because I'm gonna keep picking all this fruit stuff.
It's you. It's not even judged. There's no judgment at all.
So I just want like massive amounts of longan fruit. It's kind of I had it in Kauai and I'm completely obsessed with it. And they're these like little tiny round, magnificent, heavenly flavored balls.
All right.
They are though. You can Google it.
Google. Wait, what were they called?
Longan.
What were they called again?
Longan, longan fruit. I think I said it right. I might not be, but they're amazing.
Longan fruit.
And you can
Native
freeze them,
to...
and they taste like just amazing little ice cream nuggets.
Oh wow, that's pretty good.
They're so good.
Appetizer. I would like. I want to have my dessert. Oh damn it. Shit. This is forever. But I'm trying to picture that I'm just chilling, like on an island,
happy.
like totally happy. God, man. I want to make it all, but you know I make it all, right? It's not from like.
I thought somebody's coming and like serve this.
Well, I want to make it.
Oh, you're gonna make it. I'm not. I want the island to make my stuff.
It could. Damn it. I know. I want like a good like. Oh my God. Like chips and guac. Are you kidding me? Like good homemade guac from scratch, like with lime. In a stone bowl that I chiseled out.
Why would you need to chisel it out?
Because because I want to feel and connect to my plateware.
I thought we're on an island to just like chill.
Right, but I found these round stones and they're perfect for bowls.
Okay, so you're not chiseling it out.
No, I did. I've been working on them for a while. I've known this.
Just like in my mind, I'm hammock in the sun, and these things are somehow just appearing in my reality.
You are not evolving.
Yes, I'm evolved. That's why I'm there.
What about when the predators?
With my intentions, and it's.
You evolved so much that you could just like create it. Okay.
Creating with my
This
mind.
question's good. All right, meal.
Oof.
This is
it's
hard,
so
because
because
I don't think she eats.
there's these two things that I'm so conflicted. I can only have one.
You're like, there's too many courses. There's too many courses. I just wanted the fruit and my coconut water and for you to leave me alone.
Give me some books. See, I'm split between I'm gonna go with nachos. Like fully loaded.
Oh, you stole. Yeah.
Amazing. Like the biggest plate ever. Because you know when you start running out of the toppings and you have those chips left and you want more of the toppings, I want it to you have the perfect amount of chip to toppings, and I want it to be
yours.
like loaded nachos.
Where are you getting these from?
Hagos.
Hagos is in Encinitas, by the way, everybody.
Hagos.
And it's unbelievable.
If this island makes them, I'll take it there too. But
I think they know Cassie by name, and it's just like, I'll take the #1 vegetarian with steak, or not, or whatever. All right. Mine would be a margarita pizza with good, like stone fired, and the dough that's just, my God, and the crust is so soft and warm, and I have olive oil and garlic and salt in a stone bowl, and I'm dipping.
What's with the stone bowls?
Minerals.
Mine are going to be on like a bamboo plate or something. I don't know.
My bowl turns into some sort of a Okay. All right. Wait, dessert.
Dessert.
Everyone's getting hungry. Someone goes, screw an island. I'm going to the grocery store.
Bye, guys. Dessert.
Hagos, Alale. Hagos was what she said. Alale just goes, what's the place in Encinitas?
Oh,
Hagos.
Hagos Organic Tacos.
It's near where you and Yas live. It's right there. It's right
and
on the 101.
The beautiful human that works there, she's amazing, and she deals with so much. So if you do go, be extremely kind to her, and she's absolutely adorable. And this season of whatever we want to call it, people have been very unkind, and so if you go there, just anonymously shower her with all the goodness.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay, dessert. I would have to do some sort of
cherries from a tree.
I'm assuming I get the fruit on the island now. So now I'm not gonna waste it on that. I think I need a chocolate cake.
Oh wow. Okay.
It was either that or the oatmeal chocolate chip cookie or a cinnamon roll, and I can't decide. Or maybe all of them.
Notice she didn't say chocolate covered strawberries. Rumor has it, the grocery store I went to, I wanted chocolate covered strawberries on Valentine's Day because Valentine's Day is just dumb, and they had them. And I'm like, why are they empty? And they're like, this girl bought the last two. And I was like, oh, all right. Come to find out, this girl.
I bought them. I needed them. I might switch to chocolate covered strawberries now, or a chocolate cake with chocolate covered strawberries on top.
You know, you could have it all. It's Desert Island. You can have it all.
I thought I got one option. Now I'm confused on the menu.
See, I think I want a root beer float. I love root beer.
You already had root beer though.
But I have root beer as my drink.
Just drop some ice cream in it one day.
That I'm drinking all throughout the meal.
I feel like you're losing an option.
So I'm going to crush a root beer float in a stone mug, and then I'm going back to my cave. You're so upset at my plateware. And then I go back to my cave and sip a nice, warm espresso, a hot espresso or a hot island coffee. Okay. There was Desert Island. You're up.
Island. Okay.
There was a joke there somewhere. I said you're up, but I could have used Europe. You know what I mean? There was a joke there.
Okay.
I could have created a joke there, and I didn't.
You're good at these jokes.
I'll go. You're up. What's the key to lives, IG lives?
Let you do jokes.
Timing.
Okay. Still no. Okay. Oh, this one's good. Kendra Anspach, Anspach. Her question is, would you share what's keeping you hopeful for the future, COVID/politics?
I love it.
That's a really good one too. Kendra, with a K. I don't know if there'd be any
Good
other.
question, Kendra.
Yeah, so I think my new way of just being, like, in the beginning, it was hard to be hopeful because I was still trying to get my footing. But at this point, I'm so certain in everything that I'm doing for myself, everything that I believe in, every decision I'm making, that every single day I'm only going to be hopeful. Because again, what we talked about at the beginning of this, like, if I am co-creating the reality I'm experiencing, first of all, I take ownership of how I've contributed to what we're in right now. And then now that I understand that, I'm going to make a deliberate, intentional decision moving forward to every single day. I'm no longer looking at the other. It does nothing for me. It doesn't help any human being. It hasn't saved not one life. It doesn't make anybody feel better. If it was your last day on earth, it wouldn't do anything for you. So I no longer give any attention, any focus to anything on that other side. So every single day I'm hopeful. And politics, I don't follow. I don't pay attention to it. Again, I haven't found anything that serves any human. I haven't found anything in politics that makes my life better. I haven't found anything on the news ever that enhances my health and well-being in any capacity at all. So it just doesn't get my attention. And through that, you then only spend time in this other. You start seeking out so many more optimistic, hopeful things that are happening right now too, but our attention's been distracted on this other side. All of it is happening all right now, but we've been giving every bit of our attention to this other side. So, my hopefulness is just cultivated in my day-to-day, in my waking up and realizing I've got hands and feet, and I get one more day here, and I get to talk to people and experience life. Because the other thing too is, I think what would be most beneficial too, and I talk about this a lot with my patients, is if you're not hopeful, it's because you're thinking, of what happens tomorrow. What if, what if, what if, what if? Otherwise, right now, if we all stop right now in this moment, everybody stops, looks around, what's going wrong? Like, what's really wrong right now? Anything catastrophic? For some, maybe, but for most of us, probably not. It's all in our head of what if? What if they come and do this? What if this happens? What if this becomes implemented? What if? And it's make-believe.
Yeah.
You don't know what's coming tomorrow. You never will. You never have. And so this idea of the future, I think, take a deep breath in and realize your right now is all that you have. And we just trick ourselves into thinking we have control over the future because we like to feel comfortable. Mm-hmm. And the unknown makes us really freaking uncomfortable. But the truth is that none of us know the future, and you can only help create the future, but you can never predict it, right? And in order to help create it and let it be something you want, it just has to have your attention in every single moment. So this again gives you the power to come back into this place of extreme hopefulness of, if I am participating in the reality of this planet, then I'm going to take control of where my mind, thought, heart, feelings, intentions go, and know that that is actively changing the fabric of the world that I'm in as I'm moving through it. And then the other thing too, get rid of the idea of future. Quit carrying something that heavy. There's nothing we can do with future. There's everything you can do with right now. And so fun for us because we've got planners and schedules, and we can anticipate, right? We think that we can. And then we also like to replicate our yesterday and put it on today, so that we feel like, with the replication, that we know what's coming tomorrow at noon, and we know what's coming tomorrow at 6 p.m. and we know what's coming on Sunday and next month and December 2021. It's make believe. You really have no idea what's coming, even in the next hour. And that's true. And if you can become extremely comfortable with the truth of that, of I don't know what the future is, but I'm going to do everything within my power to make this moment the most beautiful, to make this moment the most medicinal, to make this moment the most connected, and be here fully, then it takes away any of the mental, time, space, attention, stress of even trying to predict how you will be in a future that's terrifying, because both potentials are just, as likely. The potential that you're worried about and the potential that could go better than you could ever hoped, imagined, dreamed, anticipated. So why not, again, just focus on this other, because focusing over here is, it's not practical. It's just make believe in a very detrimental way. And we're saying we want to change everything. And so I think this is a beautiful question to start kind of going into just how humans do things to make ourselves feel comfortable. It's not that I trust in politics. It's not that I trust in the government. It's not that I trust in any human. It's that I trust in myself and my ability to navigate my nows with everything that I need, all that I need, the best that I can in every single moment. And when you trust this, then you know that like all you ever do is arrive at the unexpected, the unpredicted, the unscheduled, the unplanned, every single moment. But we like to act like we had some say in creating a future. So I would just pull away from the even thinking you needed to know about the future. You need to know right now. You need to be right here, and then you'll just have such a different experience that it no longer steals your attention, because you realize that they're both just extreme levels of make-believe, and predictive programming, on their side is not something I want to participate in personally.
Yeah.
What about you?
No, I love it. Yeah. Never voted, never will. I don't watch the news, haven't in like 17 years. Still here for some reason. Imagine that. I survived. We're experts in very bad things. I did a post the other day. We love knowing about all the bad things. And how's that working out? How is that? I have a thing in the office. Is it working? Like, is this working for you? Like knowing about all this, gaining all this, that focus so much on what could possibly happen and where we're going and are we leaving the state? I'm like, I'm so obsessed and in trying to be my best self. Literally, this is my new shift, right? Like I'm not even aware that there's stuff going on. And here's the thing, doing that, like taking care of self and then putting that shift out helps humanity, helps the globe. And if we all did that, things would shift on their own. But whenever those unpredictables show up, you're like calm. You're not in fear or doubt. You can have a clear decision. You know what you need to do because you've been doing the work for you, your family, whatever. And then it doesn't, because there's two different perspectives. Like the person unprepared, and everyone's like, oh, hoarding food and doing all this stuff. No, prepared you. You, again, don't have any idea what you're going to have. You just know you. But the decision being made, I'll do so much work that the decision I'm going to have to make down the line will be such a very clear, easy decision. Easy because I'm doing all this stuff now. I'm so intently focused on how I could improve myself every single day, how I could change today from yesterday or feel differently today. So I'm always changing, always changing, always changing. And then whatever they want to say or whatever you want to think that they think that you think, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter at all. Like it really doesn't. You will be able to decide for you what's best for you, and then whoever else is attached with you at such a different level of like I've made decisions in a state of being that now I'm making decisions like now it's like, oh no shit, I'm going this way. Like, oh yeah, of course I'm here. Of course where before I wasn't operating at this level. I wasn't this aware, this healthy, this connected, this at peace, this owning of little, this having not much at all. Like I don't have much. You know what I mean? I had so much before because I was just feeling it. Made these decisions. Now it's just, oh yeah. It's just obvious, and it's very obvious to you what you need to do. Very obvious to me, very obvious to those where everyone else is like, where am I going to go? Just focus on the steps that it is to put yourself in a better position for you to heal you. And then those decisions become very, very clear to make. No matter what, you said it, like no matter what the plan, what's a plan? They don't even know who we are tomorrow. We don't even know who we are tomorrow.
The only way to carry out the plan is to keep reading the plan, right? It wouldn't, if you didn't have any of your intellectual investment in it to even know the plan, it would be pretty impossible to continue to play it out, because we would be innovating things that would better humanity. We would be moving away from those that are stripping humanity of everything that it means to be human. And if we understood this, it's not that we don't understand what's going on. It's that we understand it so deeply because we know what it takes to be well. We know what it takes to take care of the planet. And there's no confusion on that. And so if it doesn't serve the planet, if it doesn't serve humans, it's a no. And so we would be navigating as, you know, a completely capable human being in every single moment, and there would be no room to be deceived and misled. And so you always have to go back to the individual too. We've got to get to the point where we trust ourselves so much that we don't have to act like we need to anticipate the future, or even go and research how and why and what. And it doesn't matter how and why and what they're doing. It matters what you're doing and how we're going to move forward and get ourselves out of it. And it's not going to be by reading their plan. If anything, you read the plan and you carry it out. So we've got to rise above it. We've got to use our intellect, our wisdom, our intuition, and move out of it completely. You don't win the game by staying in the game. You get yourself completely out, and you can't be controlled. You can't be manipulated. And there's still, you know, winning, or whatever you want to say, just by you consuming like any of this information. If it's not making you better, like think if this is your absolute very last day and you had an option to go read what the 1% is doing and how they're doing it, what they're going to do tomorrow, and this, and like, did it make you a better human being today? Could you do anything to help somebody else's life with what you just did? Then why are we giving our time and our energy and emotion and investment to it? We've got to start doing and picking and choosing, even with what we're doing, you know, in social media. What are you letting your attention be stolen by?
Yes.
Are you more likely to click on something that makes you fearful, anxious, worried, just not wanting to be alive here? Or are those things that are beautiful, those things that are inspirational, those things that make you excited to be here and make you want to go and love and care for other human beings, other animals, the planet, nature? Or are those things boring to you, right? We got to quit projecting everything like everything outside of us is doing this. It is us. It is all of us, all at the same time. Every single decision you make, every single thing you choose to think about, every single thing you choose to pay for and do, it's us. And it has been the whole time. And like, if we understood that, and if we, you know, take responsibility for that, you know, we believe in the world of manifesting, but we're not going to apply it to our every single day, every single action, every single choosing. Everything you're doing is choosing. And now just make it really simple, like we did, you know, a couple of weeks ago on just your health evaluation of what's medicinal or poisonous in your life.
Yeah.
Do this with what you're consuming. Anything you look at, read, consume in any possible way. Is it medicinal or is it poisonous? Is it something that can move us forward, or is it something that's going to keep us stuck and even make us go backwards, because now there's something that's so much more advanced than even, you know, the human body could handle? And no, like that's not, like, let's stop. Let's use our capacity. Let's use our power, because we have the power. Again, I say it all the time. We know it's the 99 against the 1. Then why the hell hasn't the 99 changed to such a degree that the 1%'s chasing us and saying, okay, they're not buying it, they're not eating it, they're not consuming it. We got to find a different way, right? And, you know, it's just this, we've got to get out of it. We've got to quit letting ourselves be manipulated We've got to, when you understand, you've got to make a change. Like the minute you understand that the food industry has manipulated your cravings through what we call a bliss point, and you become so addicted to those substances that you crave it, right? Once you understand that that's a thing, you need to be so angry, so intentional with everything you do past that, that you just don't, I don't care how much I crave it. I'm going to reset my taste buds, my neurochemistry, to crave what is good and healthy and for my body, nourishing. And then, you know, you don't play that game anymore. It's just a hard no. We can't do this like back and forth thing. And we can't say, oh, I want this all to stop, but I'm going to keep reading about it. I'm going to keep, you know, going to those sites that pollute my mind and pollute my outlook and pollute my body, because every negative emotion is registered in the body as well. It's like positive emotions, right? So if you're feeding this negativity, you're feeding this fear, this stress response, right? We're all way too stressed out anyways, and you're going to go consume something that creates a stress response in your body, and then you're going to say, I want to heal, oh, and I want to change. Like, it's just those, it's not compatible. We've got to like, you've got to align with what you're asking with your actions. And then when we start doing that, like, this thing has to change. There's no other option. Just like a human being who says, I'm going to heal, I'm going to change everything in my environment, I'm going to change everything that I consume, I'm going to change everything because I want to heal so much that I'm going to move away from the other. As much as I crave it, as much as it smells good, as much as I love it, no more. That person has to improve. They have to heal. These are natural laws. It's not like some rocket science. So we've got to be this intentional with this time too, and take your attention. Why do you think that they need your attention so much? You know, even on the quantum scale of what it does, there's so much more here. Take it back. Don't let yourself be sitting in a fear soup. Go and get excited. Go love somebody. Go find some way to do something beautiful. Pick up trash. Anything, but sitting and just marinating in this bullshit. Like, we know. Yeah. Great. Now let's get out of it, because I'm done with it.
Love it.
Back to you.
Love it. No. I just recorded it all. I'm going to play it tomorrow as my talk at the Heart of Freedom rally. That was my talk. Just you got fired up. I loved it.
Okay.
Couple more. You good on time?
I'm good.
Okay. This is good, and even just the way it's phrased. Donna Vanessa Dance asked, have you ever worked with anyone who had rheumatoid arthritis, and did you cure them?
I don't
Can
cure
you say?
anybody, first of all.
What? What'd you say?
I said I don't cure anybody. Not allowed to use that word for some weird reason. Might look into that. But I have worked with individuals who have cured themselves of that condition, that presentation within the physical body, right? This is just another name that we put on a different presentation, an accumulation of symptoms that presents in this way, and absolutely. And it's amazing to see. I think you had something to say about this too, right? Did you or no?
Did I?
I have
no.
to say.
It's all you.
Okay. So what else? What other part was the question? Just has it been done?
Yeah. Have you worked with anyone, and did you cure them? So I just love the wording of it, because I knew you were going to have that to say.
I love that word. And I think that a medicine that actually serves people would let that word be said because it could back it up, right? So, but yes, people do it all the time. I've had multiple people with RA reverse it, right? And have a completely normal, happy, healthy life, go dance and go do the things that they love to do. And there's, there's so much to it. Every presentation is different. The few individuals I had, none of them had the same predisposing factors, right? None of them had the same approach to healing, and all of them did it. And so that's another thing to know too, is like, always know that it can be done. If you can think of it, just the actual fact that you can think of it means that there's a potential, right? We're going to go quantum there too. So, and then when you get to see people who have done it, if anything, that should just be like, it's 100% that I can. But then the other thing too, that of course I'm going to go to here as well, is even if it hasn't been done, even if you haven't heard anybody cure anything, and you have a word that can't be, right? Who says? And like, what if it has, it just hasn't been put in a book or on a website? Yeah. So absolutely, yes. This is kind of under that world of rheumatology and autoimmunity, and that was the world that I spent a lot of time in, because that was kind of the umbrella that I fit into too, for my own healing journey. So it can be done. It can be done in anybody who has it if they want it.
Like, the expression is intelligence. We think of it as a nuisance, right? So the expression is intelligence. Even people will say, in my world, it's way different than yours, but a bone spur. And everybody kind of gets pissed at a bone spur. I'm like, that's intelligent right there. Do you know that the body made that because there was force going aberrantly to a part of the bone, and it built bone? But you have osteoarthritis, osteoporosis. Really? Then how the hell did you build this bone? My doctor said I can't build new bone. I can't. You have bone spurs.
Yeah.
That's proof.
Yeah.
Like, it could. I feel like it flows and it flows, right? Like, if it's, can you add weight that's undesirable as you age? Well, yeah, of course. Then it can go the other way. Can you lose muscle mass? Sarcopenia, and this fancy friggin' word for older people. I'm like,
Yeah.
Then you can build it. This whole, you have no choice. But did the body do it as a process of expressing itself? Then it's part of that. Is that? I mean, that's my, like, if it expresses it, then it can express the other way, right?
Yeah. Well, and too, I think if anything, I will say this forever until we just believe it so much that it just comes off of everyone's tongue immediately when they hear a symptom, a diagnosis, anything like that, is that when you look at the body, we've got to quit thinking that we know, that science knows, and that medicine knows, right? The body is doing something. Just because you don't understand why it's doing it doesn't mean that the body's doing something wrong. It is compensating to an input, to an environment, to an expression that needs to change. So we need to quit attacking the what and start understanding the why. And this whole conversation just would completely change. And again, you've got to understand that this has been put into place. Diagnosing people is psychologically intended to start uncoupling you from trusting your body. Just the nature of that system. Why? Because something about you is wrong. Something about you is messed up, and the body did something wrong. The only reason you're able to be on this planet is because you have a body. and just because we don't understand it, we don't pay attention to what it needs and what it needs to be well, doesn't mean it's not doing it right. And so, that drastically changed my medicine when I shifted my perspective from why is the body messing up to what would make a body respond, compensate, express in this way. And then magically things start reversing, and no, you're just speaking the language of the body, not speaking the language of science and medicine and politics and industry. Totally different.
So it's totally like RA, whatever, put anything you want into that blank. It doesn't change.
They're just names. This is a human body. You can't separate the heart from the eyes, from the toenails, from the pinky finger. You're a human. It's all of it, all at the same time. Your thoughts, your emotions, the way you sense and experience the world, your traumas, it's all of it. You can't separate any of it and be like, oh, RA is different than Hashimoto's. Different expression, right?
Wow. Yeah.
It's the human body. It's perfectly created. We just don't understand it.
Mm-mm.
Mind,
I feel good.
Action, yes. Yeah.
Oh, good. You can read them because
I
you're
finally
screening.
saw one, yeah, on my screen.
Guys, she's never been able to read your
I've
comments.
never been able to see any comments, so
But she got a new screen, and so now she can.
it's a game changer. I never really got to see you.
It's probably best. Today I'm matching. It's blue and blue.
I see that.
Aspen was in. She's like, you're coordinated today. And I was like, so there's a lesson there. I immediately, instead of being like, thank you, like, just, it's a compliment.
Yeah.
I thought, just be present with the compliment. Thank you very much. No, it was like, wait, what was I on other days? Instead of like, I'm like, there's a lesson there. She's like, no. It was just like, it's the blue. It's the blue and the blue. And I'm like, okay. Yeah, I should have. I should have just stayed with what you said.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And left it at that. But then I went to like previous outfits and was like, wait.
Yeah. No,
It was good.
You're calm today.
Like, am I normally?
Am I not typically?
Right.
You're super
Oh,
soft.
man. Yeah.
Plugging me in.
Plugging in.
Yeah. All right.
Couple more questions.
Yeah, let's do it.
What do you got? Do you have one? That was my RA one.
That was yours.
Good, Nick? Good.
Let's see. See one that's kind of a different topic. Oh, interesting. So there's two here that I think are good. So one is, this is from Diana Love with 2 E's, 92. And it says, how do you become unattached from an idea of someone? That's a good one. Do you want to start?
Shit.
I'll go.
Okay.
Coach.
Go ahead. Go.
Okay. So this one is huge because if you can understand that this kind of parallels everything in life, and this also will feed into the other question that I saw, you have to, okay, so there's so many things. So one thing is that everything that we have, every relationship that we have stories of the other individual. It's hardly ever the actual complete truth of that person. We have a story about them, and then usually like the breakup or the separation comes because our story and the reality of the situation collide. And you can no longer deny that what you thought you knew and experienced is not actually there, or people start being who they really are and stop acting, or they lose the capacity to act. And so a couple of things to become unattached from the idea. I wouldn't say that you have to. I think with every relationship, you need to go into it as a type of medicine for you, right? Everything, there's some medicine and there's some poison. And if it was like something negative that doesn't benefit you, or you start noticing you're attracted to the same type of person, maybe, you can unattach from that. But I think every relationship, if we do it right, and experience the human being for who they are and how they are, then you don't have to be hurt by being attached to the memory of them or the experience with them. It becomes something that enhances something in you or teaches you something about you too, because when you're trying to detach forcefully from something, you're again back to how this world works, reinforcing the attachment through the act of like trying to push them out of your psyche. And part of it too is to know that part of you pulled in that experience with that human being, and so there's something there to see, there's something there to learn. And when you learn those lessons, you take the nourishment and then you excrete the poison. Then you can assimilate what was good and what was for you, and it's no longer a needing to detach from it, but it's just a learning and a moving forward. And so you'll never like, oh, you know, I miss them, or it's just like, this was so sweet. Like, just like having a meal, right, that you'll never have again, like loving every bit of it. There might have been something that you would never want to have again, but you had the meal, you had it fully, and then you can enjoy the next one and not crave the other one. And if we quit looking at, you know, human beings to complete us again, then you experience them. You experience them for all that they are, and you love the things that you love, and anything that hurts you, you learn from it, right? You turn it into medicine in some way, and then it's not the individual, and it's not being attached to them. It's the experience again, and so it's more of this dance thing that we do with people, and it makes all future relationships better too, because that teaches you that you don't need the other person. You don't need to experience love through another person. You are love, and anyone that comes within your experience, you can then share love with. And so I don't like, you know, unattaching from things that brought love or pleasure or anything beautiful, because what we often want to do is the pain of maybe not being with the human being makes us want to wish that we didn't feel the love and the good and the pleasure.
Yeah.
That's part of this human experience, is to have the capacity to feel both and feel it fully, and to not try to throw out the whole experience because it ended poorly or it showed you something that you didn't want. That you can, again, still, that and, right? You can love them and know that they weren't for you, and that informs you on such a greater degree that then when you engage with another human being, you know more of what you want. And that's, again, this learning too. What do you want? What serves you? What speaks to you? What are your values? What are your non-negotiables? Do you know you well enough to know when you meet somebody that would be a match, or medicine, or something that would enhance your experience? That's a perspective of that. Thoughts?
So I have gone through where I kept thinking it was somebody else's problem, fault, and then my obsession with that idea of them, I'd fill with, or numb with, trips, cashmere sweaters, black leather jackets, alcohol, good times, just concerts, like. And it just wouldn't. When all the concert would end, you go home, and it would just. And it took me a while to realize. And then this last one, maybe 4 years ago, finally did work, and I looked at it exactly as that. Was, why did I meet her? Why did I know her? What were some of the amazing things from her that really lit me up? And then things that challenged me, and then things that I'm like, wait, how did I even deal with that? Well, that's not even me. That's not even my values or beliefs.
Yeah.
And then sat with and did work with and learned to really, truly love myself and what I love. And then that all of a sudden, it's not she's a beautiful, amazing person. Always was. You know what I mean? Like, it's not, and I'm not obsessed with the idea of that. It's, no, I'm here right now.
Yeah.
Loving every ounce of my life.
Yeah.
And because of that evolution, now what attracts or what can I give to somebody that I do, you know, see or become connected to? Like, what can I share? Not, as you said it, not to complete. I always looked to be completed.
Yeah.
And go back to whatever, childhood or mom or, you know, whatever you want to say, but that realization came maybe later. I'm emotionally like 5, but I learned that was it. That was the last. It's the idea of, and then you like look at things very positively. Like, why did I meet these people, or why did I meet this person?
Yeah.
That should be enough. Like, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, and I think too, if we can switch that word to, again, from attaching to somebody to connecting with them, communing with them, right? It would be, society again has done a very interesting thing with love, and even marriage and commitment and all of these things kind of tainted the whole experience. And if we truly saw ourselves as, you know, whole humans that didn't need anybody, but we could want to commune and connect, because we are creatures that need community and connection and deep connection. That if we could loosen that word, maybe just replace that word for you and see if that feels different from, you know, not needing to be attached at all, but connected and even like, yeah, just the whole experience with other people. Like, I think if we, again, could heal the relationship with ourselves, we would experience relationships in a different way, because sometimes we bring in people into our experience that show us a reflection of ourselves that really needs to be addressed and healed in order for us to be better human beings. And you know, I always try to just bring it back to myself. What do I need to see here? What could I have done better? How could I be more evolved? How could I be more solid just in being whole and being fully on my own and choosing, right? Because I also think that it's such a sweet thing for two individuals to not need each other, not have to be with each other, not have to have a legal system that says they need to be good to each other, but then to have a choosing. Every single day choosing of not that it's expected, not that you're attached, not that you're bound in any way, but every single day you're so free that you get to choose. And to have that daily choosing, I think, would give a lot of us the freedom, especially women, because we're so used to, you know, being attached, connected, being part of something, the other half, all of these terms that are typically given, and to know that you're just whole too, will help you see, you know, also what informs your stories and why you have certain ideas of those people that are hard to, you know, detach from. Is, you know, we have these stories of what love would be like, what it would feel like, what you know, relationships should be like, and it's often so far from what's true. And if we just let humans be human and we experience people fully, not looking to like own them or cling on to them or attach to them, but to express ourselves fully in the presence of another human being too, I think it would give that freedom of, you know, moving forward and a choosing instead of the rigidity of an attaching. Because anytime you attach to something, like just that word is hard, right? If you wanted to release and let go, like you'd have to like, it just almost puts in your mind just like this ripping, right? To detach. And what if you just engaged, right? And then it's this dancing thing, and when you leave, you leave. And then if you come back, it's a beautiful thing. So those two words back to back together, I think, are interesting to use. Attachment and, you know, the idea of someone, right? Because we often fall in love with the idea of someone, something, and not the reality of what's really there.
Good question.
Interesting question, yeah. Do you have another one?
I do. This is good. I think we addressed it. It's from Bull Betsy. Bull Betsy. Any health nervous system practices that foster courage?
Do you want to go?
Yeah, so we talked about it where you kind of go within, you go to try to discover self again. You try to do the necessary things that put you in an ideal setting to better your situation emotionally, spiritually, mentally, intellectually, physically, all of it. You're nourishing yourself, you're connecting with yourself, you're feeling yourself, you're not in shame or guilt. It's all intelligent, it's all there. And when you do that work, we see it with you or I, when you do that work, it exudes as, wow, you're really carefree and courageous and brave and all I don't think I'm any of that. I'm just being the best me.
Yeah.
So there, it's not like we can trick out or hack the nervous system or take a supplement or oil to give you courage, but it's one of those things that all those little mini steps are choices of, you said, medicine or the other, you know, and when you choose to put more things medicinally in your path, your system levels up, your interpretation of stimulus, your interpretation of input totally changes.
Yeah.
Like traffic jam could cause somebody to have a total panic attack
Yeah.
for various reasons. But now all of a sudden traffic's like enjoyable because you have time to listen to a podcast or listen to classical music or watch the sunset on the ride home. Like, did they just become less anxious? I just think the system just elevates, and all those things, those goods express stronger, the bads you're not even aware of, really. You sense them and you move on. But that's kind of my take, because everyone's like, you're very courageous, you're very brave. I don't think so. Like, I don't think, oh, today I'm going to be courageous, or, ooh, here's an opportunity to express courage. Let's go. It's just, there's just this way forward for me, personally. I don't know, but that's just, it's just my life. It's just how I live right now because of the things I do throughout the day, every single day, living right now. So if it's courageous, if it's sacred masculine, if it's Venus and retrograde and Mars humping Leo, like whatever you want to say it is. I think so. Hula hoops with Saturn's rings while being sprayed with a hose. Wet.
I'm new to this.
So that's my...
Yeah, I like it. And what you're speaking to, again, is you have fostered such a radical self-respect, right? And then you have also fostered self-reliance. And when you have massive self-respect and an extreme amount of self-reliance, the outcome is just being courageous, right? And so it's less of hacking and tricking your body into trying to be something that you're not, because it will always call bullshit. This thing is true. You can't trick it. And so just like what you do in your life, you enhance and you reinforce such a massive level of self-respect that, you know, when you say go, this thing knows that it's go. And when you say no, this thing knows that it's no. And so then there's no like conflict and there's no insecurity, right? Just think of that word. Insecurity is like your no's are not no's and your yeses aren't yeses. And so you're kind of in this like middle ground of who knows what we're going to do, right? Are we going to bail? Or are we going to go? And so what I have my patients do, at least, because this is a very common thing, right? We don't feel strong. We don't feel courageous. And that couldn't be further from the truth. You just haven't flexed that muscle. And you haven't done the daily habits, the daily practices that go and reinforce that in your subconscious, your psyche, and your physiology. Because when you do that, it's not a thing that you have to do, again, a practice to create courage. It's that you move through life courageously. Everything that you do is this. It is not that like some days we back down and then some days we stand for what we believe in. It is every single day I am living, choosing, breathing what I believe in, and I will stand for that with my actions. And there is no insecurity in that. My yeses are yes, my no's are no's. And so how I get people to practice, because I didn't jump into life this way, and I don't know if you might have, who knows? I just came in and was like, let's go.
Shy, insecure. Yeah, I just observed, right? Failed a lot, bullied. Like, hell yeah.
Yeah, and that was my story too. I was extremely anxious, extremely insecure. I was the one known for being insecure. And so what I had to start doing with myself is putting myself in uncomfortable situations and realizing that I could do it. And realizing that I was all that I need and I was all that I ever needed, and that I had access to this the whole time. I just didn't know it, and I didn't utilize that capacity within me. And we get ourselves into this state of not being courageous just because we are, first of all, we're just so overwhelmed that we seek comfort, right? And comfort, there's a million reasons why we like comfort, right? But when you consistently keep yourself in a comfortable state, and you never challenge yourself socially, intellectually, physically, in any capacity, you're never gonna even have an opportunity to show yourself that you have this just unbelievable amount of courage. And you know, we see this like when you're finally pushed into a corner, you'll realize everything that you have. Why do we let it get to there? Why not start fostering this every single day? Do different things every single day that make you a little bit uncomfortable, and prove to yourself, create that self-respect, that self-reliance of like, holy cow, you know, I didn't think I could, but I did. And then the next day that grows and grows and grows, and then sooner or later you've grown a muscle so much that there's no doubt, right? And that insecurity couldn't exist because your yeses are yes, your no's are no's. And I keep saying that because I feel like that's where most people break their trust, their self-respect the most, is we agree to doing things out of obligation, but inside we say no, and we do it anyways. We keep staying in a relationship that we know is toxic and not good for us, and our body says absolutely effing no, and we say yes because it's comfortable. We break our trust every single day, and then you want this to mount a response that's extremely aligned and courageous in a moment. It just doesn't make sense. So you've got to understand, you know, human physiology, human neurology, and the capacity of the human, and that, you know, some of these things, you know, we talk about trust too. These are muscles. If you don't ever use them, it's going to feel extremely shaky trying to. And, you know, my own personal journey too with a lot of this world of insecurity was, you know, I had extreme fear of public speaking. I would have never, ever, ever agreed to doing anything even like this in the comfort of my home, because I had just didn't have the capacity to even handle it. I had to respond to the idea. I couldn't read aloud in class. I couldn't, it was just terrible. And it was heartbreaking every single time, because I would like try to do all these practices, like this question, like the breathing, the nostril breathing, the herbs, the rescue remedy, the homeopathy, I did everything, tapping, everything. And it never worked until I started on these micro levels, realizing how many times I broke my own trust and started letting my yeses be yes, my no's be no, and just start there. Like anytime you are with another human being engaging in any way and you want to say no and then do it. If you want to say yes, then say yes and freaking show up. And quit breaking your trust in these moments because you're afraid of how they're going to feel. That's their responsibility. Your responsibility is being true to you and reinforcing this self-respect within you that makes you so self-reliant that you don't have to trick your body into being courageous. You just are. And it's not a power pose. It's not these are little things, you know, I use those things to catch yourself, right? You got to pull yourself out of this. But you're not, when you need courage, it's never going to be at the hand of a practice. It's going to be something within you that comes out and expresses itself so fully. And everybody has that, everybody, all right now. But you've just got to go do those things that foster self-respect and that self-reliance in you. And then it's not I'm going to make myself feel, because anytime you have make in front of anything, no. It's not going to work. Trust me, I tried everything 5 times and in massive combinations as well.
Well, you're an amazing speaker. No, that's for sure. I think we can all agree. So it works. Everything she just said clearly works because you heard her. You hear her every Friday eloquently put things. Do you have enough courage to do the 4-part move?
I'll practice my courage, though. We'll get there.
It's not courage if you think something's so stupid you're not going to try.
I think it's brilliant, by the way. I don't think it's stupid. It's brilliant. But it's a move for me right now.
Called disarm and charm.
Disarm and charm. Is that what it's called?
Somebody named it. They're like, you got to come up with a name, because it was 4-part moves to diffuse any argument. They're like, you got to come up with something. And then somebody who's following, I forget who it was, like disarm and charm.
So
like,
good.
done.
That's
But
so
now there's like
good.
adults, kids, yeah, everybody. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. So wait, why aren't you expressing courage to do
How
this?
to flex the face muscles, I guess. I don't know. My lip flow is good.
You could do it halfway, so
I
we
don't
can't
do
really
anything
see it.
halfway. Oh, you're saying like halfway.
Yeah, because then we can't. You're not really being shown.
I did it.
We didn't hear the noise. There's the noise.
Oh shit, there's a noise with it. My reception cut off.
Courage also flexes when somebody creatively comes up with excuses. It's fantastic. It's a fantastic expression of courage.
Right.
Creative.
Creativity.
Creative.
Creative courage.
Oh, here's something. Anything Cassie and Dr. TJ, Dr. Cassie and Dr. TJ disagree on?
You and I?
Yeah.
Come out. Let's see.
Oysters and eggplant.
Oysters are great medicine, especially eggplant, phenomenal. What else?
Oysters, eggplant, walks over 5 miles.
I like walks.
Over.
Not 5 miles on my tiptoes, though. Oh, steps. The amount of steps to make a Tuesday night.
Steps to make dinner. So some of my dinners require maybe 10 to 20. She calls them steps.
Mm-mm.
Cassie, what's your breaking point for steps to make your dinners?
About 5.
5.
7 if I'm feeling like culinary.
And one of them is putting like chili powder on mango. That's a step. That's a step.
Yes.
So we need people to understand. So, I mean, there's a lot. There's a ton we don't agree with. Gas tank. I let my gas tank is going on fumes right now.
I'm extremely against this way of being. I don't understand it.
Now I've let for all transparency, because I don't give a shit. I've let myself run out of gas 4 times in California.
There's this here. I feel like this is important. There's this like gas station.
Wait, it
little
froze. Hold on. This is important.
It's important for
Go.
your health. And there's like a little gauge. It has this like little arrow thing. There's an E and an F. You don't want it to touch the E, okay? It's like a game. Don't let it touch the E.
But how do I know the limits that my car can go to?
You don't really need to. You need to just not do that.
The blue wave likes to be challenged.
I don't know.
You just need to not do that. Now, when I did run out of gas, I problem solved. Did I panic? No. I just pulled over 4 lanes, stopped, parked, pulled out a gas tank, walked, got gas, came back, solved the problem. Sometimes I trained on the highway. The last time, let me tell everyone the last time. So I've done lunges while waiting, because I was waiting for, well, I don't know. I was going to do a lunge. Hold on. That's another story. So the last time I ran out of gas on purpose, and listen, I don't do this with people. I need people to understand this. It's not like we're on our way to somewhere and I'm just going to run out of gas and we're going to figure it out. This is all on me. The last time I ran out of gas, I was on the 5. I think the 5. And it ran out of gas. I was left lane. And I start to look over and I'm starting to cruise over, but I don't hit the brake because I've got momentum. So I get off on Genesee or Balboa, whatever's there, or Genesee.
That's Genesee, yeah.
And I'm going and it's slow and I'm going and I'm looking. If I stop, it's game over. So I'm looking and nobody's coming. I turn and the momentum takes me and I go and there's a gas station right on the right. And the hill of the gas station, I thought I was going to get out. Like I opened the door literally to get ready to like continue the momentum to push the car. It rolled right up to the first pump. Boom. Done. Do you understand how many levels I elevated?
Cured that need.
Do you know how much I felt though? Empowered? Like my whole system just completely, there's healing.
You know what makes me feel empowered? That I can go wherever I want to go and take as long as I need to take to get there. Take different roads, take a different way. And I'm never going to have to push my cart or walk. It feels good. You should try it out if you want.
There's a lot we disagree on.
Yeah.
Movies, maybe.
What about movies?
Although they're my choice of winding down entertainment. You'll go more reading or music.
Yeah.
Or Billy. Billy time.
Billy time.
I will go movies based on my mood.
Yeah.
It's like you're a sommelier of songs. I'm a sommelier of movies. Like I could pick a movie for a mood.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. So yeah, guys, we agree. I mean, we disagree a lot. And eggplant could be disinvented, by the way.
It makes ravioli somehow.
Or eggplant could be like the sole of a shoe, like an inner sole, like a gel sole. Or if I was going to be a jellyfish for Halloween, I could use eggplant.
There's better ways.
Okay. Do you have any others?
There's quite a few still.
Oh wow.
Let's see. There's some about sunscreen. There's some about routine.
I got a couple on sun too. Maybe address that. So
this one is, do I recommend sunscreen?
So here, lump that in with this. How much sun is too much? I'm still afraid that skin cancer can occur from excessive sun.
Okay.
So maybe just
go sun. This is a gigantic conversation. Probably not enough time left here today. However, so everything depends on the individual. It depends on your skin type. It depends on your toxicity level, your nutrition status. So anything I'm saying today or in this moment is not a blanket statement, because every individual is different, and you really have to have all of this evaluated to know how you utilize light in your light environment, and everything within the physiology has to be put into place to utilize light in the most healthy way. That being said, the sun has been around forever, and humans were made to be in the sun. We weren't made to be hidden. We weren't made to, go hide out in a cave. So we have everything within us that has to and needs to interact with full spectrum light. And full spectrum light has medicine, from UV to every color frequency, and even the stuff that we can't measure. And it's essential to the health of a human being. And actually, I can't remember the percentage of people that get cancer because of vitamin D deficiency. That's a percentage you might want to look up too when you're looking at skin cancer and sunlight. So again, these studies didn't address everything within the human being, their toxicity, their nutrition status, do they go and do what is essential for the human body to know how to utilize midday sun that actually has the high levels of UV within it that actually cause tanning, vitamin D production, and then sunburns. So this is a huge, huge conversation, but my thing is always like, if it is done in nature, to think that it is the problem, again, is a misconception. The problem is that we aren't healthy. The problem is that our world is toxic. The problem is that we are undernourished and overtoxic, okay? And so that's always going to be the initial here. Sunscreen actually, especially conventional sunscreen, causes more cancer than sunlight ever could, right? So the compounds within the sunscreen are actually carcinogens, and that interacting with UV light on the skin creates the DNA damage that could then lead to certain types of cancer presentations, which ironically aren't the severe ones again. People who wear sunscreen and aren't exposed to full spectrum light and UV light actually have a crazy percentage of, melanomas, the more serious types of skin cancer. So there's so many things to talk about here that are so important. And then when it comes to sunscreen, the human body doesn't need anything made by man, period. I will stand by that forever. That being said, some people, if you're gonna, this is just such a big conversation. So sunscreen just hides the fact that you need to get out of the sun. So if you are a person who starts turning that light pink or red, it means you need to get out of the sun. It means you have hit your capacity to be in full spectrum sun exposure, and you just need to get out of the sun. What we like to do as human beings is we like to hack nature and do things that we want to do because we want to do them, and it just is fitting for us. And so we don't see sunlight year round. We don't get up and see morning sunlight, and then we throw ourselves into midday sun on a vacation and lather ourselves with sunscreen, and that couldn't be further from the way that we should go about it. So sunscreen actually just covers up the alarm system of the skin. So there's two types of damage, indirect and direct, that actually come from UV light, and most of these are actually beneficial to producing vitamin D and all of these beautiful compounds that will sell you, but tell you to be afraid of the sun and stay away from it, when it makes it 10 times, even more than that, more potent if you actually make it yourself. So sunscreen just covers up the alarm system that says, we're turning red, get out of the sun. So no matter if you're using a natural sunscreen, a whatever, you're still turning off the alarm system. You're not turning off what's happening. The body produces the sunburn to say, hey, dum-dum, go get in the shade. You've been out in the sun too long. You haven't seen the sun in forever. Get under the shade, cover up. So can you have too much sun? Yes. That's very dependent on the individual. So like you and I, who do sunlight right and who are exposed to sunlight every single day, no matter the weather, no matter the cloud coverage, our capacity to be in the sun, we could be in the sun all day long and never get burned and never put sunscreen on. Did it just happen that way? No. We've been doing things and living in a way with nature, with our health, with our nutrition, to then utilize this powerful, powerful medicine that is sunlight. So again, you can't look at these studies that UV light causes cancer. Like, go look at everything else. They were done under blue light. They were done with chemicals, induced with chemicals. Everything. So again, like the science versus what goes on in nature. And even the fact of why do some people get skin cancers in areas that are never exposed to the sun? And why do certain populations that work indoors and never see the sun have a higher incidence of skin cancer than people that work outdoors all day long with no sunscreen? So we need to start looking at some of these things. So I would say get rid of the fear and then start doing the things that make you so healthy and vital that you can utilize a medicine as potent and powerful as sunlight. And then someday we could go into a day-long conversation of everything that sunlight does for the human body. So this idea that it causes cancer, again, in the right setting, UV light plus chemicals plus a toxic body, could it cause cancerous cells? Sure. Is that the best question we could ask? Absolutely freaking no. So that's a kind of answer to that. So I don't recommend sunscreen. I recommend listening to your body. If your body has had enough sun, get out of the sun. That's the healthiest way to do it.
Boom. Ooh, this is good. Thoughts on homeopathic remedies, and do you use them?
Yes. So homeopathy works more on, this field, the energetic body, the constitution, these things that are harder to track and research. That's why research has a hard time with homeopathy, because technically nothing exists, but yet the FDA wants to ban it. Again, which one's true? Is it deadly or is it nothing? And so I use it depending on the patient, depending on the case. If there's something that we need to shift and it matches perfectly, I utilize these things, especially if there's something that the individual just can't shift through. I like using, these more subtle, powerful therapies like homeopathy, flower essences. They're powerful. They can do big shifts in the body when sometimes other things can't touch it. Or if a body is so out of balance, so toxic, so kind of fried that herbs are too much, or anything else would just like throw the system too much out of balance, then absolutely I use it. It's a powerful therapy and tool.
Boom.
Yeah.
Do you use it enough to call yourself a homeopathic?
I get called a homeopathic all the time.
Maybe they're listening.
Not even homeopathy. Just so
Are you a homeopathic?
You're not a doctor. You're a homeopathic.
You're not a psycho. You're a psychopathic.
On some level, maybe yes. I'm a homeopathic.
Oh my God.
So good.
You got it. Go.
Okay, this one's good. This is also a long conversation too, probably. Kim Friesen 72. I know this person. Talk about how stories and emotions play out in our bodies before the physical shows. Such a good one. Yes. The awareness on this question, right? It's everything. Everything. Our physical bodies are often showing us what we can't see, and what we don't want to see often. And usually when there's a body that has a hard time recovering, it's because of this level. And that's why so much of what I do with people is I learn their story. I learn how they feel, what they feel, how they perceive their world, and any traumas that they had, because then you write stories and programs based off of your experience of any trauma. And if you don't address those things, that's when you could be doing everything right, taking all of the supplements, eating perfectly, yoga and meditation and saunas and walking and running and everything perfectly, and there's still something that's just not right. And so it's everything. Your stories, your emotions, what you hold in your tissues, what you don't express, and what you often don't want to see is vital to healing. And it's the part that if we address things on that level, sometimes the rest of it would unwind. The tissues wouldn't have to react in the way that they react to express to get your attention. There's a quote somewhere that says that healing is often, the spirit and the soul expressing itself through the physical body, that the physical body isn't really messing up ever, right? We believe that. And it's playing out these things that are held within our tissues and our psyche and our field. And so it's everything. And even your story about what you're capable of doing influences your capacity to heal. And so these usually are way earlier on, before your body starts presenting in a way where you have such extreme symptoms that you need help.
You were at the talk I did at the Heart of Freedom rally, where I posed a scenario to people just to show how their thoughts created feelings and then affected their bodies, right? So I had randomly picked every other person in the first two rows as I'm standing on stage and said, each person's going to come up for 10 seconds. There's going to be a random song played. They're going to have to dance in front of 1,000 people.
Yeah.
Let's start with you. Go ahead. And then I said, I'm just kidding. We're not going to do that. And everyone was like, okay. But I'm like, how many of you are sweating? How many have blood pressure senses, aren't hungry, are nauseated, are really unsettled?
Yeah.
Well, all I did was say words and make a suggestion. They thought and then felt, and then their body showed immediately. that's attached to all that. I see that in my office. We see it with food. We see it with exercise in here. Like sometimes I'm like, you can tell on a person's face, like what I suggest in the moment for that person, it's not like they haven't figured out their reason for why they want to do that right now. I'm like, oh, then you're not doing that right now, because that will be pulled in and interpreted. It's not harmonious. It's not controlled, beautiful damage that the body they're going to take that in. And now I'm catalyzing something else. But that's where we stick. It's like, as professionals, we just keep pushing that square peg and push it. We don't listen to the person's perception of that, or their story attached to why she would be so upset, or why he would be feeling that way about that. Was it a previous experience? Was it, something? And that's another thing too, with injuries. So if you roll your ankle, that hits home. Every time you go to step, your brain remembers that it did that when it took that exact pattern.
Yeah.
And so it'll anticipate that that's going to happen. So that's like printed inside you. So even though you're not really feeling it, there's like this small little, like every time, like, is this going to happen again? Is it going to happen again? Is it going to happen again? And it's okay. So now when we pull your case apart or whatever, then we go in, wow, we got to go get you to be at peace with that specific scenario,
Yes.
Yeah, this is huge. The story, the emotion, it's huge. It's huge.
So huge.
And honestly, if you're in practice out there and you're not addressing these,
well, that's how you keep patients in your practice forever, is you act like the mind, the traumas, the soul, the humanity part of the human don't influence the physical. Like, this is the matter, the physical matter, the physiology. And just like, we'll even bring it back to the sun. So, your stories around the sun determine the impact that that has when it hits your skin. If you go outside every single day and think that sunlight causes cancer, you think that you're not changing that input when it hits you. It absolutely does. And so our stories, you also have to see what is being controlled right now in our world to manipulate how we are acting, is they are controlling the story. Humans love stories. Stories are very meaningful to us. They're at the core of everything that we are. And, even for society and the government and media to need to be manipulating and controlling a story. Why? If there was no story, this whole thing would fall apart. So the power of the story, the power of your story, are you the person, that's ever downloaded, nothing will ever work for me. I've tried everything. Right? That's one of the most heartbreaking stories to believe in. Go back and rewrite it. It's not true. Maybe it wasn't time, or you needed a little bit more time, or there's another way, or there was something that was missed. But we write these stories based off of these traumas, these hurts. And, our brain does this too, because we're constantly wanting to keep ourselves away from pain. And it's a very beautiful thing that we do, but we have to understand, even like a trauma that is experienced as a child, even if you are aware and conscious and evolved as an adult, right? You can't unthink your way to resolving that trauma. You have to go down to the level of the body, which is the level of a child experiencing that trauma, and then rewrite from that point forward in order to make a change. Because a lot of what happens is we try to just evolve and read and do all of this intellectual stuff, and then the story was written into our subconscious. You're shoving stuff into your conscious mind. And so anytime you think, you play the programs, you play your subconscious. How often are we thinking? How often are we consuming, right? Almost constantly now. And so then just by the default, you're running all of these programs that aren't something that you want to have playing. And those are those stories. You as a child experience something, you as an adult experience something, and what do? You make a story about that. And then that story is what helps shape how you navigate the world moving forward. And if the story can change, your experience of your world can change. And so all of the power is within that story. And I always, have my patients go back and rewrite your stories. Go make sure that they're true. And then go rewrite them in a way that even with that truth, how can it be something that makes you stronger, right? Because often we download these stories that take away our power, they take away our potential, they make the world cruel and ugly, relationships unsafe, love is painful. All of these different stories that we hold, they're too heavy. They're way too heavy to carry, and they don't promote healing and well-being and connection and all of those things that we need right now. And so even during this time, rewrite as many stories. Like, find your stories. Go see if they're true. Go see if they're yours. And if they're not, definitely go rewrite those, because you didn't have a say in what you were writing. And that's how you're experiencing your world and what your body, right? I talk about this all the time. Your health is not an expression of your most evolved best day. Your health is an expression of the part of you that's out of control, programmed, upset, got self-defeating stories, and scared, fearful, not trusting. That's what's in control of your health. And that's why so many people get so frustrated, because we're working on this other, like, no, I'm so evolved. I'm doing all the work. I'm so aware. I know that this happened. And I understand it. But the body is just this truth thing, and it's simple, and it understands story, and it finds value in stories. So you've got to go and rewrite them and reinforce a story that promotes something powerful and beautiful in you. It's everything. I feel like we could talk about this for like days, because you could regain your health through this. You could regain your power. You could regain, everything. Because if you go look at anything, if the story changes, your feelings change. And if your feelings change, your reality changes, right? Just think about being in a relationship with somebody and you're head over heels, and, then you hear a story, right? And just the story, you don't even know if it's true, but the story creeps into your mind, and you're like, oh, now I feel different about this individual. Why? Because of a story. That's the power of these stories, and we tell ourselves some of the most horrendous stories over and over and over and over again, and then you add on this story that society is shoving down our throats, and we wonder why we've got a society that's not feeling well and not feeling connected. And it's exactly this.
Right.
She got to the core of something huge here.
Tom Callan and Kelly Brogan, they were both saying how medicine doesn't treat the story. They don't take the person's story. In allopathic medicine, it's a title, it's a label, it's a code, but they don't know the person's. They don't even know their name, really. And the story has to be treated, and that's two different. That's psychiatrist and general health practitioner, right? Like in medicine, and they're like, the person's story is where it's at.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing too, like, just think on like a human level. Like, when do you fall in love with people? It's not how they look. You fall in love with people when you learn them, when you start learning part of their story. You fall in love with those moments of the human, the rawness, the pain, the imperfections. And in a world right now that needs connection more than anything, we need to sit and listen to each other's story. There's medicine in the telling, and then there's medicine in the sitting with someone as they tell their story. And that's one of the things that, like, I just feel extreme gratitude every single day with the people that trust me with their stories, because that's a very vulnerable place to be. But there's so much medicine in it, to be able to tell it, and tell it without judgment, tell it without any thoughts of that any part of it's wrong, or any part of how you experienced it was wrong. But it's true, it is. And like, to start looking at it with curiosity, and to start having the curiosity to learn other people. I fall in love with people every single day, but I get the privilege of people coming and saying, this is my ugly, this is my unfiltered, this is my broken, this is my part that needs to be fixed. And on my side, I'm like, no, it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. We've got to rewrite your story about it. It's not that I'm changing the human being ever. I'm helping them realize and remember something that they know deep within, and that's so close to being human. And so even like if we get anything from tonight, I think this might be one of the most powerful things is first have, the courage to share your story, unabridged, unfiltered, unedited, and and let it be what it is. And then what that does for other people too is it gives them the opportunity to express themselves fully and be like, this is me fully, and like this is where I've messed up, this is where I had a hard time, this is where I struggle. And the medicine that we could be for each other if we quit trying to be perfect in front of each other, if we quit trying to bring to each other the best and the most beautiful, but we just said, hey, I'm human and there's some freaking rad parts about me, and then there's some crazy, and there's some emotional, and then there's some really messy, untidy parts too, and it's all of it. Because so many people are sick because they are forcing themselves into this plastic, perfected, bullshit version that they think they have to be in order to make everybody else around them comfortable, and it's making everybody sick. And if we could just let it go, like a big, heavy sigh of like, I'm dropping it. I'm dropping it all because it's too freaking complicated and heavy to carry. And that was one of the biggest parts of my own healing journey, because I was that too. I'm not saying this because I was above it. I'm saying it because it was one of those things I realized how much I was torturing myself, how much I was putting on myself. And so we've got to get on this level and again go back to just being human. Human's messy and stinky.
Fuck
and
yes.
Beautiful, and it's all of these things, and to give ourselves, I'll use this word too, the freedom to be and to change and to express. We're asking the world to give us freedom, and we don't even grant ourselves the freedom to be whatever we are every single day. So this is a big topic for me. I feel it in my heart on this one.
It was a good that's a good question. And I now you talked about it. I wasn't this way, but something I observed that I've shifted when you just brought it up. I love, I'm now so drawn to and attracted to the flaws.
Yeah.
I love them.
Yeah.
The gray hairs, the scars, the stretch marks, the wrinkles, and the stories and the fears and the embarrassment, the worst.
Maybe we don't call them flaws. Maybe we call them the real, right?
That's it.
Yeah.
I'm so drawn to them that the opposites, that if they're hidden or not allowed to come through, I just don't, I can't feel. I can't feel with those people other than just base people. Do you know what I mean? But I'm so, oh my God, I'm over, in love
it's
with
beautiful.
all that is human.
Yeah. No, that's what I, have fallen in love with too. And as a woman, it's an interesting thing you have to move through, and men too. I don't think anyone gets to escape the reality of what is expected, how you're supposed to look, and then even throw on aging on top of that, and what that's supposed to look like and what's beautiful. And I'm the same way. And we talked about this last week too, that art exhibit that showed all of those bodies and the bodies that were actually touched by people, the copper figures that were touched by people, were those places on those figures that were the too big, too small, too crooked, too this, too that. Nobody touched the two perfect models. Nobody.
No.
There was no intrigue. There was nothing about them that drew in the fascination of the human mind. And so I fall in love with this too. And again, if you can't fall in love with the flaws of another person, it means that you haven't fallen in love with your own, right? And again, maybe just being real, right? And this happens a lot. I experienced it with scars, and just thought that was something that I needed to erase and hide. And then when I realized the beauty of a scar and the meaning that you healed, and you don't ever look at a tree we look at the scars on trees and you're like, they're so beautiful and magnificent. But if it's on
Hell yeah.
a human body, right? And then the other thing, like if it's on your knee, it's cool. But if it's on your face, like fix it.
No, hell no.
Why do we do this? These are these stories we need to, they're old, they're stupid, they're not human, and they're impossible. They're impossible to keep up with. And like these are those things. Let's get rid of these stories, right? If we quit reading that, we'll quit playing out that, we'll quit feeding the industries that thrive and survive solely based off of our insecurities created by these stories.
Yep.
Right? And it would just disappear. Like, this is the world I want to live in. I want to see what you feel through. I want to see like your parents' features in your face, right? That's the other thing sometimes that breaks my heart. Like, we're trying to teach a generation of children to love themselves, but we're cutting off and changing our body parts, and then our kid has it, and we want them to believe that they're beautiful when you've removed the feature that they now have. And like, we've got to think about these things. Like, fall in love with yourself. Fall in love with you in the mirror on your worst day. Not on your most put together best day, but on your worst day. And then you'll understand true love, right? Because
my favorite.
If you don't fall in love with that person, you can't. There is nothing you could do. You could be the most beautiful person on the planet. You would never believe it. It would never like sink in and nourish you. So, more of just like showing and being freaking human. It's just being human. And like the freedom, I remember I used to never step out of the house like without makeup, and thought that I had to cover everything going on in my skin, and like I was doing that to myself. And like the day that I was just like, fuck it, I am over this. This is not worth my time, energy. I remember going out that day and just being like, I should have done this a long time ago. Like, this is so much better.
Yeah.
And, you know, the only person that had a judgment on it was me the whole time, right? And so again, let's free ourselves from these stories that bind us to insecurity, insignificance, you know, a weird standard of what's beautiful. Because just like you said, like, people are freaking beautiful, extremely unique.
Oh yeah.
Like, so I fall in love with there's people are just freaking beautiful. And it's those like unique things that just draw you in more. And, you know, the diversity and, the novelty is what actually keeps us engaged. So I love it.
So can I put this to a real life test with you and me and our friendship?
Yeah. What's that?
So, will you still be my friend?
Yes, absolutely.
Even if I look like this?
Don't you look like that?
Does my laugh change?
No, it doesn't.
See you next Friday?
I'm in. I'm down. I love it.
No, that's huge. That's important. I existed in a world a while ago through a relationship that was very, very topically. I mean, that's how we were raised too. Everything looked good. And then under the waters was not. And we as kids wished we were able to just like, why are we acting like this? Like, just be, we knew it as kids, you know, that this didn't sit right. Be authentic. Parading and looking the part and the processes and the height order and clothes and image and cars and home and so much dysfunction underneath. Like,
And
my sister registered it, and she was.
Go ahead.
No, my sister registered it as a 12-year-old. She's like, I will not live like this. I will not raise my kids like this. I will not have a husband that will live like this, because she just observed that, connected it. We looked the part of happy, healthy, together, loving, whatever it was. No. And everyone's got their story, but
that was maybe why I'm so like, who gives a I mean,
Yeah.
now I've evolved so much more, but I cannot stand like if the choice of cover that up or not, no, let it out. My
Yeah.
God, show that.
Well, and it's again like this, how much life are we missing out on because we're so concerned by these things that aren't part of life? Like, how much time do we think about how we look while we're doing things instead of just being like a child and be completely in the doing, right? You wouldn't notice if mud was on your face if, you know, your hair was doing something ridiculous and there's grass in it. That is living. What we're doing is not. We're acting. We're performing, and it's stripping the life out of humans. And we've got to get back to a point where we're living. When we're eating, we're eating. When we're with another individual, we're all the way there, not thinking about anything.
Yeah.
The capacity to be in life would make you fall in love with life. Most people are not in life. Most people are not present, even in the stuff that could nourish them. And you know, it's all for this performance. And at the end of the day, like, you know, you're not going to be sad that you didn't perform. You're going to be sad that you missed out on something that you could have experienced, a moment, a sunrise, a sunset, a, you know, intimacy with a partner. Those are the moments that make it. That's why we're here. We're not here to be pretty and, you know, sit perfectly for a picture. We're here to go and do and experience and taste and feel and connect and hurt and mess up and stand up. And, you know, it's that dancing, you know, not to want to get out of the dance, but dance to just because you freaking love how it feels to dance. And I think most of our health could be, you know, put back into balance if we just started living and experiencing the medicine that's all around us at all times, you know.
Yeah.
And being so fully in our life that that it is medicine, that we appreciate the medicine and the magic in all of these moments that we're performing through. And I, like I said, I was the worst at this. I was a walking performance. And
us too.
Yeah.
We were too.
Yeah, it's not conducive to healing, and you feel so separate too. I think is one of the things is, you know, when you're performing, you're always trying to anticipate everyone's you know, evaluation of your performance, your acting skills, how well you played the part.
Yeah.
And like, if everyone's doing this, nobody is even we're not even here at all. We're so unconscious that it's just mind-blowing sometimes. So yeah, let's practice like showing our scars. I went to a grocery store one time.
Oh yes.
And I had it was like when my skin was at its worst, but I was done covering it up. And I was like still like not happy with being out and about. And I remember like coming through the line and the woman checking me out she noticed my skin, but she was kind and was just kind of doing small talk. And it was a kind interaction. And then I saw her roll up her sleeve, and she had this massive like deformity on her shoulder. And she was like, "I hope you have a beautiful day." And I was like, "I hope you have a beautiful day too." And it was like this moment that like brought me to tears, because it was like, you know, I couldn't hide what I had going on, but me being human in that moment let her be like, "Hey, I hide this every single day, and this moment with you, I see what you're wanting to hide, and I'm gonna just be very human with you in this moment." I never saw her again, but it was such a powerful moment for me of like, what are we forcing other people to hide by forcing ourselves to hide these things we think are imperfect? And the perfection lies in just being a human and being all of it, all at the same time, the beautiful and the ugly. It's all just a judgment. None of it's, you know, true.
That was good.
Yeah. It was powerful.
I feel good. Hold on. We got more. You okay?
Good. I'm red now.
I know. You shifted. You'd think it was a filter, but no. She's got red lights, guys.
I wouldn't even know how to use the filter.
Not true. Stop it. You're better than you think. Oh. All right, this is a good one. As like a starting point, you kind of like a lot of these bleed into each other, right? But the Salt Air Farming House. This was from the Salt Air Farming House. How do you begin to uncover your true self? How do you begin?
Yeah. Gosh, that's powerful. Do you want to start?
So everyone's like, oh, you're so authentic, you're so unapologetically blah, blah, blah. Like, but I went through not that. Like I went through saying the right things, doing the right things, wearing the right clothes, always tucked in, always like exactly like what we just said. And I will never go back to that. So I think it was like you had said, realizing what that felt like.
Yeah.
I didn't like that.
Yeah.
My soul doesn't like that. I always didn't like it, but I did it for a reason greater than the not liking it. Or so I thought. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think it was finally coming to terms, feeling what that was, like allowing that, oh, that sucked. Yeah, it's okay. What I won't go back to, but then like how to true self, I personally have spent since moving to California, the shift in me and who I am now and who I was in Chicago, two completely different people 5 years ago, right? Solitude, like time by myself, uncomfortable amounts of time by myself. And everyone's like, you're a loner, you're this. I'm like, well, no, I'm not actually. I spend a lot of time with a lot of people throughout my days. You know, you spend a lot of time with people. Like, I'm not a loner, but that's when I go get back to connect with myself and who am I today versus who I was yesterday and the day before and week before. So I think it's feeling all the expressions that you were of all of your life. Like I can remember in Chicago when I was doing this and when I was doing this, was I happy? What did I feel like?
Yeah.
No. And it didn't feel right. Like, and I acknowledged that that's there. And I was from that and I don't want that anymore. And then going into my just short of it, I still discover layers of me, right? Like on long walks or on these walkabouts or these silent things, like everyone's like, so the weekend, bunch of hiking, bunch of quiet time, bunch of getting back with me, like spending time with me and whoever I decide to let in, if there is that, you know? But that's where I'd say, for me.
I agree. I think that time, that discomfort of being with yourself with no distractions, none. And seeing why you want to run away, seeing why you want to distract yourself is such a powerful, powerful thing. And it reveals so much about you. And then I always like to do, that's hard, and that's one practice. That's essential.
Yep.
And then I always like to have another like way to have the doing, right? Because most people are like, well, that's not doing anything. It's like torture.
Right. Right.
That will turn into the most blissful time you ever have eventually. But then on the other side is like this, enough to know like the little things we talked about earlier. Like if you were dating yourself, like find out your favorite smell. Find out what your favorite food is, not because your parents always cooked it, not because your spouse has it, not because it's your friend's favorite. What is something that maybe you've never even had before that is your freaking favorite just because you love it? No other reason, no other story tied to it. It's just, I like it, the end. And do that, because most people don't know themselves well enough to know what they want, what they even like. So then how do you connect and feed and nourish an individual when you don't know what nourishes them? And so part of it, and let it be playful, right? Let it be, I'm going to go try all of the random fruit, and I'm going to pick out the ones that I'm obsessed with. I'm going to go and look at, whatever, shoes, clothes, books, everything you could possibly imagine. Go learn yourself. That's why you're here. It's not so that somebody else can learn you and fall in love with you. It's doing these little daily things of like, oh my gosh, I love this on a Friday with a sunset. It's my most favorite combination. Nobody's taught it. I didn't learn it in a book. I didn't get it from anybody else. But this is my magical combination to make me feel good. And this is, doing those little things. Go and just like experiment with yourself and make it playful. Because, you've got to add the play side of this when you're trying to heal the human body and trying to learn yourself, or else you're just going to get frustrated, right? A lot of people get frustrated with the meditation, the sitting in solitude, because they're like, well, I'm like, what? I don't like me? The end. Okay, cool.
Right.
Nothing new here. So always add play, right? Always go add something playful. Go find those things that you like just because you like them. And it's even better if nobody else likes them or nobody else understands them or they hate the combination. Like combine food in a way that only you like and everyone else is like, ew.
Hell yes.
And learning your physical body helps establish that trust again for you to start revealing other layers, right? Think about a relationship. When you meet somebody, you talk about what do you like? What do you do on Fridays? What's your family like? And then when you start establishing trust with another individual, then you can ask those deeper questions of like, how's your relationship with your mom? Mine's this, right? And so do this, look at relationships now with you and you. Learn yourself, date yourself, court yourself, pursue yourself with such intensity, such desire. That you want to unravel that person, peel back all of those layers, and fall in love as you do, right? And then the more trust you have with that, the easier it is to like, okay, now let's jump into the psyche. That's not really a first date topic for most people. You have to establish some level of trust to get the individual to open up and say, it's safe to show you these things, because if we're in a body where it's not even safe to look how we look and we judge it and condemn it and cut it down, you think going into the psyche is going to be this open offering. It just always take it back to a relationship. Pursue yourself, date yourself, fall in love with yourself. Try to get to know everything that makes you tick, and then you can go deeper into those, like, who am I? Why am I here? Right? Because if you don't even know what your favorite fruit is, how the heck are you going to answer these gigantic questions?
What's Cassie's favorite fruit?
Longin. The end.
Longin.
Am I saying that right? If anybody knows if I am or not, Longan.
Somebody spelled it. Somebody spelled it. Yeah. Yeah.
It's delicious.
Longin.
It is. I ate like a whole tree in a hurricane one time. It was fun.
I gotta now I want to check Jimbo's. I want to check Lazy Acre. Has Lazy's ever had it?
No, I haven't found it. I do have a tree, but my tree's too little that it's not fruiting just yet.
What, like 50 years?
Just a little.
When will it start fruiting?
Who knows? I don't know really. I'm not sure if this is the
But you have the tree.
I have a tree.
I'm not sure if it's a Longin tree. I have a tree.
No, it is a Longin tree. It's exactly the tree that will produce the fruit that I love. I have multiple trees. Yeah.
Wait, Longin? Is that how you spell it?
Somebody spelled it right. It's Longan. So it's a thing.
Longan. Longin.
Longin.
Got it.
It's like, yeah. I don't know.
Dr. Cassie's favorite fruit, longan. If anybody can find longan and send it to her, Grit Natural Medicine,
I would just melt.
you will score points.
Yeah.
You will score universal points everywhere. It'll help the globe. Hey, the globe will heal.
Yes.
Find longans for her.
Because I'll just be overflowing with electricity from fruit sugar. Yes, it is similar to, somebody just said it. That's so true. Similar to the lychee.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Those little.
Lazy Acres has lychee.
But it's totally different. Not totally, but
yeah.
Flavor. Just, gosh, so good.
All right, longans.
Longan.
What do you got, Doc?
Question. Are we looking at questions again?
Questions.
Let's see.
I have like 2 more. These are
okay.
good. Wait, yeah, this is good. Somebody brought up, Cassie, do you have a joke?
You do. Oh, you already did it.
I already did it. I did it a while ago.
Okay.
And I screwed it up because Instagram screwed it up.
Are we blaming Instagram now? That's what I'm gonna start doing. My jokes are bad because of Instagram.
My joke was dialed in. I practiced it last night for today.
Okay.
Practiced it.
And it went well? Asking for a friend.
Last night I made myself laugh pretty hard.
It's good. That's typically how my jokes
go.
go.
Somebody just asked, have you ever tried jackfruit? Here we go.
Obsessed.
Go ahead.
Obsessed. I have one in my kitchen right now.
Do you really? Did you get it from Lazy Acres?
I got tipped off by a friend. Yes.
You went and got it? Oh, yes. I love that you went and got it.
I had an insider tip.
Outstanding.
That there was one in the area.
Yeah, she's got
it.
They're rare. When they show up, you gotta strike.
Yeah.
So she's got jackfruit that'll last her maybe tomorrow.
Yeah, it's not gonna last long.
It would last a family of 8 the month of August, but it lasts Cassie till tomorrow.
Yeah, a day. It's true. I can't stop.
Jackfruit. I made a Mexican stew with jackfruit once.
How was that?
It was good.
Good.
It was good. Somebody just asked how your finger's doing.
It's so good.
She's almost ready to shoot hoops, guys.
Close. Yeah, the feeling is coming back. It still feels like, like the whole finger has fallen asleep, but it's coming back online, so it's super cool.
So great.
So cool. So amazing. Yeah.
Didn't you have a question on, wasn't there a cholesterol question? That's a good one.
A cholesterol question? I think you had that one.
Did you have one? Oh, did I? Am I making stuff up?
You might be. I have some questions on supplements.
Oh yeah. Cholesterol, like the sun, it gets a bad rap, right?
Yeah.
The first time I ever did any research on it, and I like everybody else, I believed what I was like maybe 15 or 16 years ago, my Serbian buddy, who I've learned so much from, Vladimir, he's like, cholesterol's not bad. He just like stated it. And I was like, what? And I wasn't like, no, you're wrong. I was like, wait, how do you, he was so certain. He's just like, no, are you kidding me? It's like essential. The body makes it. Why would it be a bad thing? And so then I started diving down in and went that whole road and was like, oh my God, what else have we been told? And that was one of the big eye openers, was that cholesterol journey.
Yeah. Well, and again, even this topic, like you can look at like everyone right now being like, well, this other side's so certain, right, about their treatment for this thing, right? Well, this same industry was extremely certain that if you had elevated cholesterol, you needed a statin. And where are we at now? Wait, whoops, sorry, edit undo, not true.
Whoopsies. And statins were the #1 drug of all time. I think #1 sold drug of all time.
Yeah. And so it's so frustrating, but the body makes it. It doesn't make it by mistake. It's essential to hormone production. It's essential to having optimal levels of vitamin D. It is what is actually converted when UV light hits the skin. Cholesterol is converted into vitamin D, and then more conversion goes on in the kidney and liver. So it's essential. It's absolutely essential. And now what are we realizing? That actually higher healthy levels of cholesterol are actually neuroprotective. They actually are more indicative of a longer lifespan. Cholesterol is essential for so many functions in the human body that it's just crazy to think that we ever thought that the alternative was true. So cholesterol actually ties in a lot to sun exposure, light exposure, nutrition status, and hormone conversion. If you don't have it, you don't have the raw material to even make some of these essential hormones. So it's a huge piece of the picture, even with sunlight too. So that ties in nicely.
I had a gentleman one time, it opened my eyes. He had so much damage in the capsule of his hip. It was the worst x-ray I've ever seen. Right. And I don't look at x-rays. It's like looking at a yearbook and trying to see how somebody's like doing.
Yeah.
But I was looking at his x-ray and was like, okay, this is disgusting. Great. Like x-ray gone. Well, then how's he functioning? And he turned out he's doing very well and working so hard, because I shared with him exactly what you share. Like, if you're willing to go where I think you can go, I have no idea. I just know it's possible. You can, I don't want to say reverse that. You just won't know you even have that. That's what I'll say. Okay. They could take another x-ray and it'll look exactly the same, but you don't function that way. That's why I don't look at x-rays. I don't give a shit. And he goes, all right, I'm in, like, done. So we go into it, and, his family supported him, and then they got on board, and I would go to their house twice a week during chiropractic school and would spend like 3 or 4 hours with all of them. He'd get after it, would go through everything. I mean, he went from like 9 out of 10 every day, couldn't walk his dog, to 0 to maybe 1. And the x-ray's still the x-ray, right? I'm like, you could hear bone like on certain things if you didn't engage. It was like, dude, this is disgustingly awesome. Like, you should not be moving. It's gross. Like, it's so cool that you like can do this.
Yeah.
Well, then all of a sudden he's like, we had a conversation about cholesterol, and he knew he went to his regular checkups and stuff, and he's that guy too. And all of a sudden his cholesterol shot up when he was doing all this work. And it was like, I just, just hold on. I don't know, because this isn't my scope, but maybe your body is spiking it for some reason. Like, you've changed. You've totally shifted this input.
Yeah.
Maybe it needs more. Let's just hold off. Let's just see. It's not going to like end tomorrow. Like, let's just see where this goes. And he's like, oh no, that's a good point. And I shared with him some alternative sources, and he did his research, and he's like, he didn't go to his doctor, because the doctor, he knew, was just going to be like, no, this is insane. Like, your cholesterol's high. We got to get you down. And it ended up leveling off. Like, it completely did. It just, his body for that period of time, from a musculoskeletal standpoint, like, holy shit. And that, I'd never seen that before. That was something that was pretty profound from a cholesterol standpoint.
The body is brilliant. Cholesterol is utilized for so many different things in the human body. And again, these snapshots, they don't tell you, like, we don't even translate labs properly, right? we go look at labs. Most people get labs and it's like cholesterol high, let's do something for cholesterol. Iron low, let's give iron. B12 low, let's give B12. And that's not how you need to use labs. And I was never taught how to read labs as a story, right? And so when I started looking into my own health, because ironically too, my cholesterol was through the roof, and they were like, you're doing drugs and drinking alcohol. And I'm like, literally, I can't. Like, I literally can't.
Dude, your body jacked your cholesterol up.
My cholesterol was through the roof. Yeah, absolutely extremely
How
high.
Awesome.
In the
Holy
most
shit.
intense time of my healing. And this is not
Totally.
coincidence, right? You've just got to understand why the body does what it does, and you adapt to support the body. You don't prescribe things to change freaking labs.
Yeah.
Right. And so then I started teaching myself how to read labs as a comprehensive story as best we can, right? Those are just the few things we know how to measure and our best guess, right, on some things. And so when you look at labs as, you know, something to prescribe something, you're going to mess up every single time. When you look at labs, you pair it with the person's story, you pair it with everything else that that human being is experiencing, where they're at in their healing journey, then you read labs based off of that as the comprehensive wholeness, not just high iron, low this, anemia, all of it, all at the same time. Why would a body that's perfectly capable of healing on its own do it this way? How do we support it? Totally different, right? And that's what I had to start doing, because even when I looked at my lab, I was like, oh my gosh, like, this is not good. And then it was like, wait, it doesn't seem right to stop why the body's doing what it's doing. It
Totally.
seems more right to pay attention to why it might be needing to increase cholesterol, why it may be utilizing more iron during this time, why it may be sequestering iron out of the bloodstream. Why might it do that? Because it's brilliant, and it is so much more advanced than our medical freaking stupid textbooks, that maybe we pay attention to that and support it, right? You get some pretty good results when you follow nature and the human body.
And you know what's cool? Like you have integrated much research in it.
Mm-hmm.
That's even still narrow-minded. Like you don't even know, like,
that's the best we can do right now.
like right now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, and if you layer on this other world, the quantum world, the metaphysical background that we are in and interfacing with every single moment, what would labs have to look like to incorporate that level of brilliance? That level of interconnectedness, that level of intelligence? That's true. What we're doing is stupid, low level, guessing compared to what is actually happening within the human body. So when you treat the human body like it's just a high iron, low this, it's not true at all. This thing is so dynamic, so interconnected, that, we're doing our best.
Dude, I'm doing it with rolled ankles. And like, that's my, like, with your cases, like, I don't, but it doesn't matter the industry. It's like they put us down to a single thing as a single thing. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
You didn't ask anything. You didn't do anything into what that person is expressing.
Yeah.
And I can't even imagine your world, because I'll do it and they're like, that totally makes sense. I'm like, right? Like,
well, and the beautiful thing too is when we do it in this way, when we take, like, it takes a lot of freaking time. Like, if you're one of my patients, you know how much time we spend together. And then the amount of time I spend on those cases outside of that to understand that human being, right? It's a lot of time. And that's not a lucrative approach.
No.
Right? And it's just, gosh, if we could do this for humans, it restores their trust in themselves, their trust in their body, because it's like, oh, nothing messed up. These inputs need to be changed and altered, And then this thing will respond in a different way, right? The analogy I always use for people to really like make you understand this is like, say that you just are having a meal of sauteed mushrooms, and you have sauteed mushrooms, you love them, right? Texture. He'll be back. It's fine. Deep breaths. You good?
Go ahead.
Okay. So say you're having a delicious bowl of sauteed mushrooms. You eat them, you enjoy them thoroughly, and you feel fine. You feel no different than you did every other day. What if somebody switched out those mushrooms and put in, the mushrooms that contain psilocybin, maybe? And so the psychedelic mushrooms were then the mushrooms that you had sauteed, and you ate them not knowing that anything was different in the mushroom, but then your body had a response to what you just ate. Is your body doing something wrong, or did you just not know what all was incorporated in that input? And that's what we're working with here. It's the input, the body responds to the input. Just because you can't see, understand, or know exactly everything that contributed to that response doesn't mean that the body is wrong.
Right.
Right? And, we've got to change this, because when you think that the body is wrong, you never trust this. So how the hell are you going to trust
That's a good
any
analogy.
relationship outside of this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you just come up with that?
Yeah, a while ago. I'm not sure when I came up with that.
That's gold.
It was the best way I found to explain it.
If there are remnants, if there are any cells left of any gland, tissue, organ, can we
Yes.
can we nourish them, grow them, and get them functional?
Absolutely.
Okay, can I ask you a tough, you're not giving me medical whatever.
Right.
There's one elusive label.
Elusive what?
Label.
Label. Okay.
We'd say diagnosis, but we don't really do diagnoses. Not in this show.
Yeah.
That everyone's like, well, yeah, everything, but this one's different. Do you know what I'm asking?
Probably, yeah.
Can I ask it?
Yes.
Can type 1 diabetes be reversed?
Yes.
Okay.
It can.
Because the cells that create, or that they've been told don't work or are faulty, or you genetically were born with whatever, are still there.
Yes. Well,
Still present.
And to get that diagnosis too, I think it's often important for us to define things, because I think we get lost in the fact that we don't understand the definition that the medical community puts behind these words that we're then given, that have such a, disheartening story associated with it, especially this title. Like, this one is very near and dear to my heart, more so than almost anything. And so, the definition to get that title is typically when 80% of the function is not there. 80%. So 20% is still there functioning, right? And then when you think about a therapeutic approach.
That's current, Cassie, that's current right now, 80%, and it's been that way?
Typically.
Like that's their,
I mean, I would have to double check it to be maybe absolutely
okay.
accurate on the percentage, but typically it's an 80% loss of function before you start showing the overt symptoms of it. And so, like, what if we changed our approach? Instead of then, we could still do insulin therapy, but do it in a way that doesn't just override and slow down and do the negative feedback whenever you introduce a hormone into the body. Then the body's like, okay, I get to take a cute little vacation, right?
Done. Sure.
And so then you addressed what would contribute to the loss of that specific cell type. And, you know, that's the approach that we need to do for these things. But anything that is presenting in the body, it didn't just happen. There's
Right.
something that triggered it. There's something that perpetually irritated or created dysfunction in the physical body. And if they're there, if the organ is still in the body, that's all the potential we need, right? And so yeah, it's a hard one, and the people have to be very committed and dedicated. But you know, this is one too that group of individuals, out of almost all, you know, go look at the cost of insulin right now. Not because it costs that much to make it or to have it, but because they can. Why? Because people have to have it to live. That's what our pharmaceutical industry does to people. So do we want a medicine that does it that way? Or do we want a medicine that says, hey, the organ's still there. There's a percentage of function. Maybe we don't even know how to accurately measure. Also, the body can regenerate when put in the proper conditions and environment. What if we do this in a more intelligent way that actually works with the body and promotes healing, instead of just asking the question, does this person have type 1 diabetes? Yes, the end. Is that the best freaking question that we could ask? Absolutely not. That doesn't serve anybody. Let's start asking better questions, right? And then we get better answers, and then with those better answers, we can then act. And that's exactly what we need to do, especially with this, because those people, they have to buy insulin. They have to, unless they do things that eventually reverses that condition. And it's one of the most expensive, you know, the monitors, the testing strips, the insulin, then, you know, if they have the pump or the injections, it's, you know, but they've been told that you can't do anything about it. So believing that, do you think that's going to promote healing? Do you think it's going to promote even looking in another direction that makes that possible? No. So that whole side of everything needs to change, but it's been done, right? And it's been done multiple times in multiple different ages, juvenile onset, adult onset. And again, if it's been done, know that it's possible in you if you want it. And not to say it's not going to be a shit ton of work.
Sure.
But it's possible.
Thank you for answering that.
Mm-hmm.
I like that one.
You get that one a lot?
Yeah, people like to, well, I know everything's great that you're saying, but X, right?
Yeah.
Instead of and, no. And we can do this.
Can, yes.
So, man of the house, Jeff. This is a two-parter.
Okay.
Does Billy have an IG page?
He needs one. Does anyone want to manage it?
So we do that for Health Freedom for Humanity. We just like get our assistants are like from people who follow us and like have helped and they're willing to help. So
I could just
you could seriously employ for free, like just an exchange of awesome.
A Billy.
Guys, if anyone wants to create and man Dr. Cassie's cat's Instagram page, Billy the cat.
Yeah. It's going to get to a level, whoever this human being is, if we do this, of the embarrassing amount of photos and videos I have of this furry being.
You're stocked, though. You don't have to do any like new material.
Oh, he's got content
good.
for days. Yeah.
You're good.
Yeah.
Even a first birthday, I think. Is this correct?
Oh, the first birthday.
Yes,
so
Billy.
Good. That one.
No, Billy has not made it out yet. Billy
hasn't been here yet. Do I need to go get him?
No, we're good.
Is this the Billy?
Well, I don't. Yeah.
Yeah, Billy's first birthday was just a freaking party. I need to find that. That's good.
He had a first birthday, everybody.
It was good. And
Billy
then
the cat.
The worst cat parent in the world, and forgot his birthday last year. So in his world, he's still one, and we're gonna just this year have a big party, and he's 2, but he's really 3. Sorry. Whoops.
My God.
It's gonna be a big party though. I'm gonna totally make up for it. You want to be
Does
invited?
Billy have an IG page? So if anybody wants to create and maintain and take over Billy's IG page for Dr. Cassie, DM her. You okay that I just did that?
Yeah.
Yeah, man of the house, Jeff. He just has a general like core health, digestive, stomach, abdomen.
Yeah.
Probably just simple tips or, you know,
For
troubleshooting.
Healing or
maybe he didn't really get specific, just maybe generals on digestion, how stomach, small intestine, large intestine, colon,
just
all that. General.
Ready, go.
Even that we don't use stomach acids for fruit, right? It's enzymes.
No, you do. You just don't have to produce as much as digesting like a meal with protein or mixed foods.
So it's easier. Like that was kind of cool.
Yeah, yeah. It's such a perfect food and instant energy and structured water. And this was not a question about fruit, but I'm obsessed with fruit.
We gotta go there.
But you could utilize fruit in healing the gut as well. It's essential, impactful of medicine. But gut health, there's so many things that goes into it. And diet, of course, is a huge one. Stress levels are a huge one. Sun exposure, exposing your abdomen to sunlight, morning sunlight as well, can shift the microbiome. Beautiful, powerful. We've got research on this. What else? Even if you think about your energetic centers as well, your power, your ability to make your decisions, and all that comes into that also factors into that as well. Even just the simple acts of like when you eat, timing, how you eat. Do you eat in a rush? Do you eat on the go? Do you sit down and make your food, chew your food, enjoy your food, and then, digest and give yourself time to absorb the nutrition? So there's so much to it, but you can always make everything really, really simple by just getting really, really clean and getting back into your body, chewing your food, making your food, knowing where your food comes from. And then choosing those things that energize you instead of these blind cravings that have been captured by an industry. And I would say that would start you on the right path. And don't get duped into the marketing scams and the probiotic for everything, because you'll be doing that for a long time. You'll get frustrated.
Eating after 10 is a good thing then?
I like to always eat before sunset.
For me?
I like to eat before 10 p.m. I like to start multi-step meals well before 10 p.m. But that's just me.
It just shows what I'm willing to do. What's bigger than a meal for me? That I will push a meal till after 10. Sometimes.
What's that? Am I answering this?
No, I was just stating.
Oh. I was like, I don't know. Ooh, yeah, somebody just said that they say a prayer over their meal. We don't understand the power of intentions and prayer or anything. Even if you just send positive vibes or a gratitude moment before you consume your food, the impact that it has when you actually ingest it is magnificent. So yes, yes, yes. I didn't catch the name, but I saw it blip.
I'll do that. when I'll sit and make and sit down and I'll look at it, I'm like genuinely excited and grateful that I get to consume what this is.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Well, and two, I think there's been an uncoupling of the pleasure of being hungry, right? In a world where we get to eat.
All the time.
Yeah, where we get the privilege of getting to be satiated and getting to have a meal.
Instantly.
And if you could just feel gratitude for, like, how cool is it that I get to be hungry?
Yep.
The understanding and the knowing that I have a meal, and most often it's a meal that we choose and one that we want. And to give gratitude for any medicine that's in your food, anything that came from nature, and is infused with these compounds that could be healing on their own. Like sometimes I just have an extremely emotional moment when I'm having these meals that are just packed full of medicine.
Covered. Yeah.
Yeah.
What have you had today?
Today I had jackfruit. I've had lots of my teas. Some.
Do you just have it raw? Is jackfruit just raw?
Yeah. I just
cut up and go.
A chunk of it and peel out all the little pods and just eat it in the sunshine.
So jackfruit, a bunch of teas.
Teas, herbs. I haven't had dinner yet, but I will be. What about you?
I had a little manuka honey in the morning. I had stinging nettle tea.
Mm-hmm.
I had 3 green plums.
Ugh.
That was all before going to work. And then I got in and I had a banana, a cutie, organic cutie. You know what cuties are?
Yeah, the little oranges that are so easy to peel.
Yeah. Very easy. A cutie. And then I had a liter, a 32-ounce jar of grapes. I went to Black's today. I got native.
Native.
But I was hiding in rocks, so nobody knew I was there.
Nice.
Then I had I just made 6 more quarts of bone broth, but I haven't had any. I had pineapple wedge. I have discs of pineapples.
I don't understand that concept either.
And then I had 3 and then I had 3 more green plums. I had 3 strawberries and a pear.
I love it.
And those pears are like the hard pears, like those really crunchy, chewy, holy shit pears. And I had 4 ounces of really good coffee with some raw honey.
I actually had coffee this morning with my mushroom, reishi, chaga, lion's mane, and cordyceps. It was good.
Dude, and I nursed it. It was like, do you drink it pretty quick?
No, I do my morning sunlight and just savor it. Because it's not a lot. It's not a...
Yeah, mine's tiny, and I'll just sip, and the flavor is just so fucking good.
It's so good.
Oh, it's like a superpower being able to taste all these things. I swear to God, I get drunk on flavor sometimes.
Yeah. Well, when you clean your body out too, your capacity to taste different flavors is enhanced, because most of our palate is covered just by synthetic flavors and overly sweet, so much so that our neurology even has to shut things down to not have all of the inputs coming from some of the nasty stuff that we're eating. So when you clean out, your ability to taste all of the different flavors, right? That's why you and I, when people are like, how can you just eat fruit and vegetables and a little bit of this and you're okay and you don't crave these other things? I'm like, do you know how good jackfruit tastes?
I'm not punishing myself. No. This is and why do they do it on tropical islands? Why is it always on vacation? Fresh fruit. Well, I
So
do it all
even
the
if you
time.
go look at how billionaires eat, right? They're not eating the junk that they're selling,
No, good call.
right?
That is true.
Not that all billionaires sell junk. That was.
Yeah, just guys, if you guys are tuning in, billionaires listening, we're not all you guys.
Not all of them are bad.
Yoga State of Mind is in now, and she missed her question being asked, which was the desert island question.
Oh, we spent so much time.
She's going to have to go back and listen to this whole thing over.
Yeah.
To find our. That was like a 24.
I think it took the most brain power. I think we spent.
Yeah. Yeah, everything else is like, oh, yeah. It's like, wait.
No, we don't want to not.
That's a great question. Why stone bowls?
I still don't understand, but that's okay.
Minerals. When we find bowls, when we're digging up stuff of ancient civilizations, they have bowls out of stone, and I just think they're so cool.
They are cool, but they're heavy.
Yes.
And if I'm in a hammock.
So it's sitting on you.
We're back to this now.
Like a jade, like a piece of jade. And in case of imminent danger, it then turns into a weapon. You with me?
This island, this was like my ideal manifested island. There was no danger.
You have nothing to keep you on edge?
My imagination.
Okay. That is true.
Maybe a bug. A snake I haven't seen. A hyper. I don't know.
Oh my God. This is good. Wait, do we have any takers to create Billy's Instagram page? All right.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, we have favorite foods. We already did favorite foods. You just crushed them. You got any more questions over there?
Let me check. I didn't have mine written down on paper like you did.
I know you have it digital because you cut out the writing step. It's smart.
Because somebody might have given me the tip.
You have good friends.
I've got one. One said, can we bring someone on to ask their questions and concerns? I have no idea. And then I've got another one. Let's see. Some of these like supplements are so individual. It's not that it would be hard to say what people should be taking because I wouldn't know until I met you. There's one by, looks like Lelam, Lelamw, and it just says shadow integration. So your shadow side, maybe. I don't know if it's a question.
That's my dark side.
Yeah.
You know what I love sharing are like the worst things I've done.
You love sharing those?
Yeah, because I don't, like, I'm not ashamed of anything. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't, like, give me yours, give me her, you know what I mean? Like, everyone, just, who cares? I don't, you're here now.
Well, and the idea of, like, the shadow side, too, I think that it's just part of this experience, right? We put judgments of good and bad on things. And, you know, the shadow is just as informative and informing and powerful as the light when we're talking about the sides of, you know, this human experience. And so, you know, it's not that we have to, like, feel shameful or guilty about what we consider, right? Because the other thing, too, is I think it's always interesting to see what people consider to be their shadow side. And sometimes it's just something that's magnificently powerful that they've just been told is too much, right? So this idea of shadow work and all the things that come into it. I think that, you know, always take it to enhance your expression as a human. Like it's all of it. And we like to categorize things. We like to put judgment on things and say the shadow is bad and the light is good, and we should be more good than bad, when it's this beautiful dance of we need both of it. We need all of it. It's part of this experience. It's part of the learning. And there's parts of, you know, what we consider to be shadow aspects that are quite powerful, and that within an individual that has the awareness, these are the things that mobilize and, you know, help move and bring the light in a powerful way. And so again, it's this dance, this beautiful balance and interwoven nature of what it is to be human. And the shadow is not anything to be ashamed of.
No,
it's part of us, part of being here.
let's talk about it. I got a question for you, because as you sit in front of a mountain of books, and you're just very well read, and you're very intellectual, but then very spiritual and very empathetic and very conscious. And how do you? So sometimes, me personally, like even with Aspen today, when she asked me, you know, you're coordinated today, you're very, and I immediately went to analytical, right? Like, but I'm a very but my analytical totally just like, stop that guy, you know, that, but I'm very aware of a lot of things, and I see a lot of things, and I've experienced a lot of things. So I recall a lot of things, right? Or I read things, or whatever. How do you blend the two harmoniously, like those two sides, that do you know what I mean? That feel side to the analytical side, to have them be you as your best expression as practitioner, but also as just Cassie.
Yeah. I think that has been a practice for me, because in the beginning I relied so heavily on the intellectual, and I tried to get the feeling part of me to shut down, right? Even when I initially went into allopathic medical school, I was told that, you know, I needed to get a hold of my emotions, that I couldn't get connected to people. So I was trained even in the beginning, like, that is not a good thing. You don't need to be that. So rely heavily on this intellectual side. And so I overfed my intellect, and then it got me to a point where I was so out of balance and so disconnected from my body, from myself, that something had to change. And, you know, it comes in that moment where then I began craving the world of the unseen, the unproven, the feeling again. I just wanted to feel so badly, because I had gotten myself to a point where I disconnected emotions because I needed to do that in order to be an intellectual, in order to perform and show up in the world, and not get too connected to the kid that was in the room with leukemia and his family. And so it was this, you know, breaking point for me, which was a choosing of when your intellect starts just robbing from your experience of living, you know, you've gone too hard, right? And so there's difference between a curiosity and a love of learning and investigating and trying to see things from different perspectives than just accumulating knowledge because you're just ravenous and you don't know you're up from your down. And so when I started, you know, it was actually ironically in medical school, because that's when I was healing. When I really made the switch towards, I needed to know this other side. I needed to feel everything that I used to feel as a kid, everything that I felt, you know, before I was taught not to feel, before I was taught that feeling and being sensitive and hypersensitive, right? Hypersensitive was something wrong. And so it was actually going back and remembering those things about me, that hypersensitivity, that ability to feel another human being, to know what they were saying even when they didn't say it, and realizing that this is such a beautiful gift. And then seeking out, books and texts that could, feed the intellect while feeding this thing that was trying to put words to what I was feeling. And then I got to a point where I put the books down and really just started being like, what is it that I feel? Why am I scrambling? Why do I constantly feel like I have to have a textbook, the latest research article, a self-help book, a spiritual text? What is this in me that is just not ever satiated? It's never enough. And, that really was what brought me into no longer reading text to get told what I know, but searching for what I know through reading and through experiencing. And when you can do that, it turns it into something so different. And it's almost like you're trying to find little pieces of you that are in words and poetry, that are in a moment in life, that are in a random, not so random, encounter with a human. It's like you're trying to go find all of those little pieces of you instead of trying to memorize how it should be, or how one human experienced the world, or how one religious group thinks that things should be. And it felt so good. And I felt free. And I was, got to a point where even death didn't scare me. And I was like, okay, everyone's saying I'm not doing this right, but it feels so good that I don't want to go back to any paradigm, any way of thinking, doing, being that I read in a textbook, learned from a program, learned from a group that made me feel shitty. Like I'm just done with that. And so it really became, this just evolution for me of like, I want to know what I think. I want to know what I feel. I want to know how I see the world. Because, what if my red is not your red?
Right.
And what if, we don't have it figured out, or we wouldn't have to keep writing self-help books. So what if there might be more with, turning around and going the other direction that might give us more insight? And it just felt better, which is just the truth of I no longer needed something outside of me to tell me a truth that I held within me. And it took away that trying to prove myself, trying to convince myself, trying to shape shift into an intellectual, an academic, a doctor. I was like, I'm just done, and I'm going to be me, because the others stole life out of me in such a terrible way that I never wanted to do that again. So I think it's this, too, when you understand that the body knows, that the heart knows, that that's the experience, the mind should, add on. It should be a tool. It should help, add wisdom to what you know. It shouldn't be what you look to know. It's two totally different things, and it's a subtlety that can really change things and really just makes life sweeter. You get the nourishment and not just the empty calories.
Top 3 books in your house right now. I know.
Top 3 books in my house.
So the walls of your house, like everything within your house right now, any room. Top 3 according to Dr. Cassie Huckabee.
Oh, this is the hardest one yet.
Right now. So this day.
1.
Really? Yes.
Still, I've been obsessed with it. Top 3. Okay. Jonathan Livingston Seagull. If you
have that?
Read it, yes. It's up here somewhere.
Yeah, you brought that up. Go over that.
Yeah, so it's a book to be experienced. It's short. It's a story about a seagull, and it's just like opens your eyes in such a drastic way. Another one is Dying to Be Me by Anita Morjani. And the reason I say this one was because I feel like it was the one book that took away my fear of death. And I remember after finishing it, she wrote it in such a way. She had a NDE, and her writing just about the experience shifted something in me. I had done a lot of work. I had done just chronic reading and trying to understand this world that we don't understand. And I remember, just something in me shifted that day of like, it's so much more beautiful than we think. And so that book, just for a perspective shift, right, is a beautiful one to go to. So I would say those two, and then I only get, oh wait, I already did 3.
Go ahead. You can expand to
Another one.
you can expand to 20.
20. Oh, this would be the best. Like, I get too excited. No, I'll stop after one more. Okay. Oh, it's so hard.
So she said David White Essentials. She said Jonathan Livingston Seagull, and then Dying to Be Me by
Anita Morjani. Yeah.
And then she's jonesing for 1 or 2 more. This is so great because you're so well read.
It's so hard because there's so
I know, this is awesome.
Oh my gosh. Wait, no.
The third book was Dying to Be Me by Anita Morjani. It's about a near-death experience. And Dr. Cassie read it, and it helped her get past the fear of death and just the glory of life.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I would have to go with, it's so hard because I listen to so many books on like repeat and read them. The 4 Agreements, probably, by Dr. Gail Ruiz. I love how simple it is. And like, if you could master the simple, what all that would unravel in us. And, it's often like the simplest things. Like, if we could master those things, everything else would just like fall into place. And I love how, how simply he puts these beautiful, beautiful truths. And the feeling you get. I need to just make a giant list of books that just give you that feeling. But I also, one of my most favorite things about books, while we're on the topic of books, is how they come into your reality. So every book that I ever read was not me going to a library trying to find it. It somehow like came across my path, or I saw it at a bookstore, and it was absolutely perfect for what I needed in that moment. And then the next one that I came across somehow built upon that in some way that you couldn't even connect it. And then the next one would come from a friend, or the next one would come from, don't go and compile all the books that you hear from everyone. Maybe go get one that sounds like, oh, that sounds interesting. Get one, read it, enjoy it, absorb it, and then let the play of life say, okay, now they want this. Now send them this. Now send them this, and let it be like this play in the universe of words that you need, songs that you need. And like, it makes me so like childlike giddy when like I find a song that was basically the same thing that I read in a book, and then the next week a book that built on that idea, that are 2 totally different topics, but they speak to the same thing. And it's like this thing, like, fall in love with life is like in every way that you possibly can. Let it be play. Let it be these like serendipitous moments, these cosmic winks, these little gifts and offerings from just like being alive and being connected. So maybe just pick one and then let the rest just like pour into your reality.
I was doing a walk from Black's Beach to Encinitas. It's 12 something miles. and I walked through the it's because my car ran out of gas. I had to walk this.
I was going to ask, but I didn't know if it was
No, I'm kidding.
good.
I'm kidding. So I'm walking through the bike path through Del Mar. Normally I don't. I stay on the 101 and whatever. And the bike path was beautiful. There were like herbs and gardens and all this stuff. It was quiet and beautiful. It took me through this neighborhood. And then I stumbled upon what in the neighborhood that you would have freaked out on? There was a box. There was like a stand and a cabinet that you opened up outside of someone's house.
The books.
Yeah.
I love this so much.
Yeah. I went through them all. I was just looking, but I thought how ecstatic you would have been.
Gosh, I love them so much.
But it's such a great idea, right?
It's so great. And to like some of my most favorite places are like the bookstores where you take a book and then you leave a book. I did my hand exactly opposite. You leave a book and then you get to take a book. And it's like this, I don't know, there's just something about it that's so fun because you don't know who's going to get it after you. Who had it before you. Like all of these things my mind just like falls in love with. So those little like side of the road outside of the house, free libraries. I just like have a little mini heart crush on those too.
And I never walked this neighborhood before. And then there was like an orange tree, and I picked it, and it was outside their gate, along the road. You know what I mean? And they were on the ground, so I picked them up.
Yeah.
And then I go, and these guys, 2 guys walk in, were like, "Are those blood oranges?" I'm like, "I don't know. You want one?" Sure. I grabbed 3. I threw him one. I'm like, "You want one?" He's like, "No, I'm good."
Yeah.
It was just like walking in the street, popping open an orange, like just this perfect day.
So good. What are your favorite books?
Life.
You didn't go.
Life. Huh?
Life. It's so beautiful.
My favorite books?
Mm-hmm.
So I like The Alchemist. Mm-hmm. That's one of my... David Whyte Essentials, because it's normally like Biology of Belief or Becoming Supernatural, You're the Placebo, like these nerdy books. Not, but then like you exposed me to that, and it's hands down my go-to. Like I'm always in the mood for it.
Yeah.
It'll just pull me back into the feels. And I don't have a problem feeling, but sometimes you just get just locked in with checking boxes and getting through your day, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's different every time. I've read the first 3
I know.
like 5 times. They're different every time.
I know.
It's completely different with my settings, my scenario, my internal, where I'm at, what I've done, my dream, like everything. Yeah. It reads totally different. Yeah. We're interviewing him, by the way. It's happening.
Yeah.
I don't know if you...
I'm sure he's excited.
He is. He was a little intimidated. He was intimidated because he did some research on you.
Yeah. I'm sure that's...
All right, so here's the reality. Instagram stops you at 4 hours.
Are we at 4 hours?
So we have 8 minutes till 4 hours, okay?
Whoa.
So it's going to kick us off.
Okay.
If it doesn't, this will be a new record, okay?
A curfew, an Instagram curfew.
So we've got 2 things that we have not done, and it's only if you're comfortable.
Maybe you should start reading while I go to the cat, or... I can read.
No, wait.
Are we getting cat?
Are we gonna knock out
things?
No, it's David White and Billy.
And Billy, yeah. Should I go get him? 7 minutes.
Should I go get my book?
I got my book.
Ready?
I can
Ready?
multitask. Ready, go.
Break. Ready?
Let's
go. All right, we're here. Calm down. We made it. Where did we end off with? Oh, by the way, if you don't have this, get it. David Whyte Essentials. I can't keep saying this enough. He wrote it in 2020 because of what everyone's experienced globally. Okay, and this thing is powerful. All right. Oh my God, there he is. Guys.
Sleeping.
Was he?
Yeah.
So listen, whoever wants to create a Instagram page for Billy the cat. Cassie has a never-ending amount of
Photos.
data. There he is. Oh my God.
He's so cuddly right now.
Dude, he's being so chill right now.
He's
Normally,
so
hi
tired.
Billy. Hey Billy. Billy, they're like Billy in the red light. His eyes. How rad is that cat?
He's so.
Oh my God.
He's chill tonight. Poetry.
Dude, this is good. We just need to knock out 4 hours. And he's like, all right,
It's like bedtime.
I'll close out.
Crazy.
I'll close this guy out.
All right, he's out.
Does Billy wear mascara?
Right?
Billy is the bomb. Wait, what am I reading? The Faces of Braga? Is that where we left off?
I think we jumped around because I chose.
The Winter of Listening?
That's a good one.
Have we done it?
No.
Doesn't even matter. We ready?
Yeah.
Wait, you want to let me get this one?
Yeah.
The Winter of Listening. David White, Essentials. Get this book if you don't have it. The Winter of Listening. No one but me by the fire, my hands burning, red in the palms while the night wind carries everything away outside. All this petty worry while the great cloak of the sky grows dark and intense round every living thing. Cloak. Use the word cloak. Us poets. What is precious inside us does not care to be known by the mind in ways that diminish its presence. What we strive for in perfection is not what turns us into the lit angel we desire. What disturbs and then nourishes has everything we need. Holy shit. What we hate in ourselves is what we cannot know in ourselves, but what is true to the pattern does not need to be explained. Inside everyone is a great shout of joy waiting to be born. Even with the summer so far off, I feel it grown in me, now and ready to arrive in the world. All those years listening to those who had nothing to say. All those years forgetting how everything has its own voice to make itself heard. All those years forgetting how easily you can belong to everything simply by listening. And the slow difficulty of remembering how everything is born from an opposite and miraculous otherness. Silence and winter had led me to that otherness. So let this winter of listening be enough for the new life I must call my own. We speak only with the voices of those we can hear ourselves, and only for that portion of the body of the world it has learned to perceive. David. And here in the tumult of the night, I hear the walnut above the child swaying its dark limbs in the wind, and the rain now come to beat against my window, and somewhere in this cold night of wind and stars, the first whispered opening of those hidden and invisible springs that uncoil in the summer air, each yet to be imagined arose. Good God. Imagine rose. That is boss. Is he a poet? David White is. He has other books. Somebody else had another book of his.
I have like 3 of them, 4 maybe.
Is it all poems?
Mm-hmm. They're just
Oh,
complicated.
so it's okay.
Yeah, they're good. They're worth it. This one part, because we talked about, being perfect and hiding our flaws and how perfect this is, right? We just randomly chose this one.
Right. No.
What is precious inside us does not care to be known by the mind in ways that diminish its presence. What we strive for in perfection is not what turns us into the lit angel we desire.
That was it.
That's it.
Guys, thank you for joining in on our question and answer.
Yeah.
It's only been 4 hours.
There were so many good questions. Like very, very good questions.
So Cass, we probably can't do this every Friday. I mean,
Yeah.
unless you just are like, dude, I want to do it.
Yeah.
But we'll do question and answer again, guys. Thank you for doing all this and sending the questions in. I hope it was helpful. We got like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Cassie, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, of course.
Have a good night.
All right. Have a good weekend.
Bye.
All right, everyone. I'm going to wait till it boots me. Way to hang in there. Monumental episode, huh? House calls. Share this with many people. Share this. Oh, I'm hungry. Oh, who's going to the Heart of Freedom rally tomorrow? Huh? See you tomorrow. I think I'm third in the list of speakers. Yep. How many fucking questions? Yeah. You guys enjoyed it? Wait, did I not start? Oh, I didn't start right at the time. All right. I'm peacing out. You guys tear it up. Have a good weekend. If anybody's going hard